What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. It's Dean78904. If you want to get all technical right now, it's the start of 2 hours, 2+ hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation. I'll come right out and say it. I'm nervous. I'm a nervous fan. We're talking a lot of baseball, but of course, hockey, do or die tonight. And Kirkwood's already got me rattled pre-show. We got Keith Eister, the Iceman. Kirkwood, you already wanted to get your cheap shots in before the show, get them on the show as well. I believe with your 5-star play, I'm not sure if you officially released it to the people, but it's probably going against me. But it's a wild predicament to be in for the Panthers as a Panther fan, because you can either A or B. It's A or B. No other options. Win the most difficult championship in all sports, or go down as like you're like the new default. Oh, you're going to pull a Panthers like. Indefinitely, forever, people will be referencing.
Well, we know the Yankees. We know the Yankees are rooting for Edmonton.
That wasn't the World Series. That wasn't the World. I mean, it couldn't be, obviously, but yeah, I know you're referencing.
ALCS. It was close enough. It was the real World Series, but
kinda. Yeah.
Then Boston went in and swept the Cardinals, but
yeah. So I don't have a lot of fandom left in me. Like DFS has taken a lot out of it. Just the Marlins organization just took it out of it. It's like the multiple things. I'm not like the fan I once was, but like this is like one team that I really, really root for, and it's gonna be a little nerve-wracking watching the hockey this evening. And have you released it publicly, your 5-star play, your 6-star play?
Well, I'm coming off of a 12 unit play that I gave in chat on Friday night, which was Edmonton. Oilers, and we are going back one more time. Tonight is a 5-unit play, and these are all big. 12 unit is the biggest play I've ever released in my time as a big successful sports handicapper. But
sure,
tonight is a 5-unit play, which is still big, and I'm happy to see Juggalo Nation all in here for it, because they're going to be piling the money on. So get in quick. They want to see the big jugs. Butho wants to see the Kirk Diggler dong of the night. Don't worry, I'm going to have that too for you. But
is that a new one? I haven't heard that before. The Kirk Diggler, yeah. Is that a new gimmick?
Usually, only the ladies say that. They call me that, but
I believe I set a line. If you can name 2.5 over or under Edmonton Oilers. And now, before you answer, Keith, where would you go? Do you think Kirkwood can name over 2.5 Edmonton Oilers?
I think that's a good line. I'll take the over just slightly. I don't know if he can go 4, but I think he can get 3.
Kirk, get away from that keyboard. I see you typing. Get away from that keyboard. You're a big cheater.
I know McJesus.
Sure.
I know Bouchard.
Okay.
And I know there's one more. Skinner.
Dang.
Like one of the top 7 hockey players.
I know no more. There's no more I know.
That was a very sharp line.
And I know Igor. Who's Igor? Igor, is that the wrong team or
Igor?
Is there a goalie Igor that?
Yeah, he's with the Rangers.
Yeah, they're gone. See, that's another guy I knew.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl is one of the best hockey. He hasn't really shown it so much in this series, but he is spectacular. All right. Even TastefulTides, Tim's jumping in there correcting you for Nugent Hopkins, aware of his existence. It doesn't matter though. Just point to the scoreboard. 6-star winner. I'm gonna be it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna.
No, it was a 12. It was you keep getting this wrong. It was a 12-unit banger that we hit on. And we did lose. We lost our first 6-unit in horrendous fashion with the Brewers against Scott.
Everybody that subscribes to you is homeless now. They can't even deal the money for the next one.
Well, the funny thing is, all I was doing was like a joke, like mocking Siege for putting out his 5-unit play of to get in for. And then it's amazing some of the comments you get, like total fraud, like all these comments after you were like people like just search like unit plays or something and must tail it or something. I don't know what's going on, but. Yeah, it was funny. Like, this guy doesn't even bet. He doesn't even have a screenshot of his thing. So that
he doesn't know who Leon Draisaitl is.
So I posted a screenshot of what I bet on the game, which I lost a good amount. And I wrote, I gave him I brottered him. Do you know what brother is?
No.
When you say okay, brother, you say okay, brother. It's kind of like it's an insult. So when I said, here you go, brother. BRODDA. It's more of a New York thing, but
okay.
East
Don't
Coast.
know it.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's we're gonna be we're making some baseball teams. Obviously, I'm fully invested in this slate as well. But yeah, got the hockey on my mind as well. Kirkwood, give me the screenshot as far as tonight's 9-gamer. Some awesome weather, a couple good weather spots. Tatis is really popping against Patrick Corbin. Not sure if he's gonna play.
I don't even know if he's
do we officially know if
play.
he's gonna play?
No,
I'm afraid he doesn't play tonight. He hasn't played a couple games in a row, and maybe that lineup doesn't get released until late. So it's an interesting thought process, and maybe, you don't want to get stuck, but maybe people just will be afraid to play him. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we get the lineup in an hour and it's a moot point. We're getting Massey back tonight for Kansas City, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but to me, seems like a big deal. It's an awesome spot to come back in. It is, I believe it's 98 degrees in Kansas City. It is hot. And one of the worst pitchers on the slate taking the bump there for the Marlins. So Kansas City looks pretty awesome. Lance Lynn in the heat against the Braves. They also have an extreme hitters umpire as well. Really wish Michael Harris was available for tonight. Would love him against Lynn, but those are two of the best spots. And of course, Keith, you got your boy Cole Reagans. He's pitching in the heat. It's going to be hot, but you got to hit the ball for it to matter. It's gonna be a fun one. Reagans, I believe Reagans is gonna be pretty chalky, but I did ask Kirkwood first. I want Kirkwood's screenshot as far as the slate. Kansas City close to a 6-team total at home against the Marlins. Dodgers are going to be unowned. Just throwing that out there. And maybe the pitcher against them is probably the better way to go. But interesting options for sure. It's a pretty good 9-gamer. What do you got here, Kirkwood? Give me the old screenshot.
Yeah, we've got good pitching, right? We've got Reagans, which I'll get into. We've got Crochet. I like to call him Croquet. We've got Freddie Peralta, who's my favorite player on the slate tonight. We've got Tanner Houck for kind of a high end. We've got Waldron and the Dancing Knuckler that we can play. We've got Justin Steele. Bassett, maybe. I'm not into Bassett at all, but the Red Sox are red hot right now.
That's a rematch of 5 days ago.
Yeah, Lance Lynn, I'm not playing, but I will be playing against him. There's a lot of options. There are some cheap, like Griffin Canning, Carson Spears. I'm not particularly really interested in either of them. I think we can get it done without going down that low. But on the hitting, we've got some good spots, and we've also got a lot of good dew all over the place. The dew point model is popping today. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So that actually scares me for Reagans. To be honest with you. Makes me down. I know I'm not sure if he's going to be really popular or not, but Miami's it's like 97 to 100 degrees. It's got nice dew, nice humidity. This wind's blowing out. I know Miami isn't the best team, and certainly they're one of the worst power teams in the league, if not the worst. But it just makes me tick Reagans down a tick. So. There's plenty of options on the pitching side. I love the Royals on the bat side. There's plenty of other options we can go to. I don't know. This slate is bananas, I'd say. I think.
We also got Contreras back for St. Louis, so sort of throwing it out there. To the point as far as the weather, Kansas City, 99 games. Similar weather, according to Weather Edge. We've seen a bump of homers at 14%, bump and runs at 15%. The official fire emoji, 10 miles per hour out to left center field. The dew is 68 for what it's worth. It looks like an awesome hitting environment. I believe St. Louis as well. Yeah, 94 in the Lou. Wind blowing out to left center at 8 miles per hour. Not really popping Weather Edge as far as previous games, 55 games. Bump and homer at 10%, bump and runs at 1%, but still seems like a pretty good hitting environment. That field generally plays pretty neutral, maybe slightly pitcher friendly. Keith, what do you got as far as this slate? What are you looking at? I know Reagans is your guy. He's going to be sweating though. I don't know if he's a sweater or not, but
yeah, that's big.
Oh, come on. He dominates in Kansas City all the time. It's always hot in Kansas City, so he'll be just fine. Also, the Marlins rolling out 8 righties is just a beautiful thing. We love to see that when we're chasing strikeouts from Reagans. So hammer that over 6.5 Ks for Cole Reagans. He's not my favorite pitcher on the slate, though. Garrett Crochet is in an amazing spot. The Dodgers released a lineup that does not contain Teoscar Hernandez and instead contains Jason Hayward, lefty on lefty. That's like that 1-for-1 swap alone is just a massive boost to Crochet. He was already my favorite pitcher on the slate. And that one piece of lineup news right there just bumped him even higher. I'm a little concerned that it's going to raise his ownership a little bit, but I definitely want to have the Crochet conversation.
Is he hurt? I think the Dodgers were off yesterday on a Sunday, so that's weird. I don't think Teoscar is hurt unless I missed something. He was removed from a game a couple days ago. I thought it was for precautionary reasons, but that is just weird, right? They didn't play yesterday, right? The Dodgers, for some reason, the day off on a Sunday. That's odd.
I believe that's
I saw the Hayward thing too, and I didn't get it. But yeah, and the Marlins, you're not going to believe the analytics department fell asleep on that one, Keith. I guess it's just it's just the left on left stuff. They did put Jazz in there. Sometimes they sit him against lefties. They actually did play Jazz.
It is a tricky thing to do from an analytics perspective. I'm just pulling up his numbers now because he actually does give up more power to righties. Mm-hmm. So if you want to try to get to him, you want to play the righties, but you also you have to deal with that 30% strikeout rate to righties that he has as well. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I understand why teams pile up righties against him, but it's awesome for his strikeout prop.
I can't believe, I know the sample is kind of small, but I can't believe how low his K rate is versus lefties. Do you know what it is off the top of your head, Keith?
I happen to be looking at it right now. It's 15.3% to lefties. So
yeah, which is just that's so weird. But he doesn't walk them, and he doesn't give up any power to them. He's giving up some singles, it looks like. But that's and against righties, almost over 31% strikeouts. All right, yeah. Certainly Reagan's, it looks like an awesome play, and Crochet, it's a tricky one because I'm really curious what the field's going to do. The field generally does not like to pick on the Dodgers, but Crochet is like a different kind of animal, right? And he's, his K rate is ridiculous. Highest K rate on the slate by a good bit, 35.2%, backed up by the biggest swinging strikeout rate at 15.3%. Doesn't really walk a lot of guys, 5.7%. And this Dodger lineup without Betts certainly weakens. Their two best hitters, arguably, are left-handed. I don't know what the field's going to do with him. Do you think the field's going to lean in on Crochet, or I don't think the Dodgers are going to get played. I'll say that side of it.
The Dodgers are definitely not getting played. I think we were going to get Crochet pretty low owned, but I am concerned now with this the Dodgers lineup here. People are going to see Hayward at the bottom. I don't know. I think his ownership is getting steamed as we get closer to lock now, unfortunately.
Let's see. As of 4:54, so about 20 minutes ago or so, we have 34% going to Reagans, despite the weather on TK, despite the heat. Justin Steele, Austin Ballpark pitching there in Sanford. These are your guys, Keith. This is your slate, man. Those are like two of your best guys, right? Reagans and Steele. I feel like you bet on those guys every single day, and they've had some weird reasons why sometimes they didn't hit their stuff because of weather or injury. But is it still 18 outs for Steele? Did you check that out as far as the over-under for outs? Is that something you've been hitting these days, or no?
It's been juiced. This over 17.5 has been way juiced. I'm talking like minus 180 to the over. So I'm just not paying that much juice. I'd almost rather bet the over 18.5 at that point at plus money. Steele, like you said, has just had all kinds of weird stuff happen to him this season. He's been right for 3 or 4 starts in a row now. Even though his stats, like his game log, doesn't necessarily look like that. He's been just fine since returning to the IL. He's just had some weird stuff going on. But yeah, I think Steele is a little bit too cheap. He doesn't have the same upside that Reagans and Crochet and even Freddie Peralta have. But you get a little bit of a discount on him, especially on DraftKings. So I definitely think he's in the pool for sure.
Ownership wise, 34% Reagans, 28% Steele, 27% for Peralta. Kirkwood mentioned Waldron at 19%, Crochet at 16%. I would love it if it's 16. If that's where he settles, I think that's a great number. Hauk also at 16. He's my least favorite of that group. Curious to get your guys' thoughts. It's when you consider everything, when you consider a price and all that. Toronto just, gutless, yada, 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 but they also make a lot of contact, and they did to this team. They saw him, 5 days ago, 6 days ago. And then Schwellenbach, I think, is pretty interesting. I wish it was not as hot there, but we'll talk about it. I was looking at his advanced stuff, and it's kind of small samples, but one thing that really jumped out to me for Schwellenbach was his barrel rate, his barrel percentage. 1.6% barrel rate, which would be like the 99th percentile. Like, he doesn't really qualify, I guess, because he only has 21 innings. but he's been pretty awesome this year as far as avoiding barrels. Kirkwood, jump in here. Do you have a favorite? You have a lean? You make your one main lineup. Is that what we're doing today? One main lineup?
Yeah, I might roll a couple. I got 3 potentially for tonight. But yeah, depending. But I'll have one main lineup and then I'll have 2 others.
Are you messing around in like the penny streets? I don't know if you guys saw, but on DraftKings, it's a good night to get in your reps. If you want to get in reps and you want to use the tools and you want to use Lineup HQ and you want to use SimLabs, which, by the way, I should mention, there's one way. If you're not actually a premium member, you can get yourself a free week of RG Premium because it's Movie Monday. If you tell me what movie we're talking about, where would you put this answer? I'm gonna drop 5 clues, 5 individual clues as the show progresses. Each clue you get one guess in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel. The first clue is, you're not going to believe it, but the first clue is Panthers. Panthers is the first clue. Tell me what movie we are talking about. The first clue. And Kirkwood, it's not Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain.
It's not. It's not Broke. I know you like to guess. That's not. I got ahead of you on that one.
Can I guess? Is it Anchorman?
Why would you guess Anchorman?
Sex Panther?
Okay.
the cologne?
60% of the time works every time, right? That's
yeah.
I would have probably made it singular, but yeah, it's not. That is not correct, but that is a good guess. But I just don't want you to guess it correctly on air like TJ did last time. Which was a lot of fun.
With movies, I'm not going to guess it correct. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
Chop and TJ, those are your guys. Keith, maybe, I don't know, but Tasteful. I mean Tim, Swaggy T, no way. But me and Swaggy Tweet probably will never get it right on the movies.
I'm closer to you and Swaggy T in that camp. The athlete one I'm okay at, but the movies not my jam.
We're not really calling Tim Swaggy T. We're not doing that, right? Like we're not going along. We don't have to go along with this.
I don't have to.
No. Ironically, right?
Yeah, of course.
We're not doing that. I'm not going to partake.
You never even got it. You never even gave in to Patty the Tooth. So of course I would expect.
Well, it's Patty the Brain. Yeah, it's Patty the Brain.
Yeah. He had a nice strikeout last night. Pinch hitter in the 9th. It's good.
He's not. It turns out he's not very good. He's not very good. All right. Tim is in chat. Does he approve of that nickname? Would he like a redo? I'm curious what his thoughts are. But I was mentioning there's a bunch of penny contests on DK if you want to get some reps in. If you have Lineup HQ, if you have SimLabs, if you're not aware of what SimLabs is, it's the expert DFS lineup generation tool from RG, from Fantasy Labs, available for basketball, PGA, baseball as well. Just a few clicks, you get hundreds of well-built correlated lineups, whatever kind of contest type you're playing. If you want to see a bunch of cash lineups, you want to see a bunch of tournament lineups, you can make it as ambitious as you want to be. Get access to SimLabs with an RG premium sub. Be sure to grab yours today. And speaking of, you can get yourself a 6-month commitment. 6-month commitment, you get $250 off the regular price as opposed to going month by month by month by month. If you want to commit to 6 months, you'll get $250 off the regular price, or you can get a 1-month sub for $40 off the first month, or you can get a 3-day pass for $19.99. And since I'm reading all this off, should go ahead and knock the last one out. If you're not aware, if you play DK Pick 6 Firefox, there's a Firefox extension if you have RG Premium that will point you in the direction of the best plays of the day. Go ahead and download the Firefox extension. All right. Yeah. So are you, Keith, are you going to dabble in those penny streets? I mean, you messing around there? You're going to, or not so much. I mean, it's great for people to get, the reps in, but you probably don't need it. I don't know. Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I think it is. It's fantastic that they're offering it. If you're new to DFS and just want to be like, what would it be like building 150 lineups? You don't have the bankroll to do it, even in the 50-cent mini max, that's how I cut my teeth and learn multi-entry is the 50-cent mini max. But the penny, like you can mess around. You can, and they have like 10 of them or something like that. So you can run multiple different builds, experiment with multiple different things. So I think it's fantastic that they're offering it. It's a great way to practice multi-entry, but personally, I'm not, just because the prize pools are not big. But it is like, it's fantastic if you're new to DFS and trying to learn mass multi-entry. It's a fantastic thing.
There's a $500 total prize contest with 59,000 contestants, entries for a penny. But again, I think it's just to kind of get reps in, I suppose. And, by all means, if you want to practice, it's very cheap to go ahead. You can make 150 lineups I went to UCF, so hold on a second. It's like $150 if you want to run out 150 lineups. There you go. All right. Do you want to say what's up to chat? Did we officially say hello to chat? Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things to help us keep the lights on. Speaking of Swaggy T is going to be on later. He's going to be on Crunch Time with Kevin Roth, as well as I believe it's Squirrel Patrol. No, it's Dave Potts. Dave Potts, Cheese is good. Speaking of Roth, weather-wise, I think we are good. Yeah, everything was green, but the one thing we want to monitor or just keep an eye on or be aware of is all the heat, or at least the heat pockets in St. Louis, where it's 94, and in Kansas City, where it's 98. Nick Lachey throwing out the first pitch today. All right. Other pitchers that we're considering. Keith, you have you're running out more lineups in your pool.
Never mind. Sorry. I got your joke. I almost sounded like an idiot. Because I didn't hear the whole thing, and then I registered that it was 98 degrees. Never mind. Carry on. Carry on.
It's not Drew Lachey. It's Nick Lachey throwing out. If Nick wasn't available, though, Drew would have been happy to step in for him. Keith, we're making 40 lineups today? Usual 40?
Yep, that's what we're doing.
How concise is our pitching pool?
Pretty concise today. I have 6 right now, considering a 7th, but I think it's going to stick at 6.
Okay, so let's play the game. Let's play. I think I know 6 of the 7. I think. I wonder I think it's kind of chalky. I could be wrong. Kirkwood, feel free to jump in here and tell me otherwise, but I think it's going to be 6 among Houck, Reagans, Crochet, Peralta, Steele, and Reagans. And my guess is Houck is the one that's out. You tell me, Kirkwood. Did I think it? I think I see a head nod there. Keith, did I nail it?
Yes, Houck is the one that Houck is on the fence. I don't think he's going to end up in there. Yes, and then there's one other name that I don't think that you said yet. But you nailed Houck being the guy that's out.
Oh, is it Waldron?
Yes,
Steele.
It is Waldron.
No Steele?
Yeah, Steele's in there.
Oh, I said Reagans twice, like dip, duck, dive, dodge, and dip. I think that's what I pulled. I pulled a dodgeball. I think that's what happens. Yeah. Okay, I said Steele twice for some reason. My bad. So that is, that's 6 to 7. There's no reason. I mean, like, I shouldn't say no reason, but I don't see a reason. It doesn't seem like you seem like a reason. And if you're extending the 150, is there anybody else you'd add to the pool? Like your 70th lineup might have James Paxton. I can't imagine. I'll never play James Paxton ever again.
Like, the upside is so good at the top end. Why do I want to mess around with an awful James Paxton, an awful Lance Lynn, an awful Griffin Canning? If I was playing 150, maybe I would sprinkle those guys in, but like, I don't see the upside for any of those 3 guys. They've all been okay at times in their careers, but they've not been okay this season. So I'm more apt to pick on those 3 guys than I am to play them.
Our guy Eric in chat says, I want to clown around and play Patrick Corbin and stack him with the A's, let me guess. Corbin, A's actually aren't terrible today. I don't think they're terrible today. We'll discuss that later on. How many lineups do you have to make to consider Corbin? I'm guessing you're not getting the Corbin, and it's not happening.
It would be in my 10th penny minimax, I think.
No goalie in the lineup. I should have mentioned. Thank you, Don Yeezy. Yeah, that St. Louis lineup. Contreras is back, but no goalie for what it's worth. So St. Louis, not that goalie's been incredible this year, but weakens the lineup a little bit. Jump in here, Kirkwood. Do you have your pitchers locked in? Essentially,
no. I mean, first off, my favorite is Peralta. So if I'm looking at what's the difference between Crochet and Peralta, like what are we?
K-rate?
A little bit.
Not my bunch, yeah.
A little bit, but more walks. No, actually, that's wrong. Sorry. Little slightly better Sierra. but also the pitching conditions are worse. So I just think Peralta's going to smash tonight. So I'm going that way. But I like them both. I guess more of the comparison really is more Peralta Reagans.
Yeah, I think the ownership on Crochet is the biggest point for him. I'm with you on Peralta, by the way. I think all of Reagan's, Crochet, and Peralta have just massive upside that far exceeds anyone else on the slate. So I want to spend up at pitching as much as I can today, even more than I'm playing somebody like Justin Steele, who's facing San Francisco in a back-to-back start. I think Steele is great.
Steele's their ace. I'm on Steele's their ace. I'm on board. He's looked really good in his last 3 starts. He's gonna continue to get better. Like this is the Cubs ace. So, and the Giants have overperformed. I was looking at their numbers today, and I was like, man, they've actually been pretty good against left-handed pitching. But I'm still in that park. I'm with you on Steele.
By the way, noted lefty masher for San Fran, who always starts and almost always leads off against lefties. Austin Slater this year, 64 plate appearances versus lefties. He's got a 0 ISO versus lefties. This is the one thing this guy's supposed to do, and he's not doing it. It's not a massive sample, and he's been hurt this year, but still. Soler, good, but not amazing like he has been in the past this year versus lefties, 182 ISO. 346 WOBA. It's been better in years past, but that's still pretty good. Chapman pummeling lefties pretty good as well. 216 ISO, 400 WOBA. That is a big boy number. The Ks aren't very high in this projected lineup, 18.9%. No lineup just yet for San Fran because they are playing out there in San Francisco. So, but we just have a projected lineup as of right now. But that'd be the one hiccup. It's just sort of it's a pretty contact heavy projected lineup for me. I'm not really afraid of him giving up a ton of runs. It's just maybe he doesn't strike everybody out. 23.7% Ks in the season, 27% versus lefties, 23 versus righties. So, pretty good either way. Mostly he sees righties. That's just how that works as far as teams just aren't really going to roll any lefties. We're projecting nine righties against them. So don't even look at the season numbers. Look at the specific to right-handers. We did get an update as far as ownership, by the way. Let's see. Reagan's 34%, 30% for Peralta. So he jumped up. Yeah, I feel like that's gone up a little bit. Peralta up to 30%, 25% Steele. Waldron, 19. Crochet, 16 still. Houck is 15. Schoenweiss, 14. Keith, talk to me about Waldron against Washington.
It's just a price play. I can't spend up to the 10K range on every lineup, even though I will try to do it as often as I can. I need some savings in some of those lineups, especially if Tatis is in that Padres lineup. I'm going to want to spend up on them quite a bit. He's been sneaky good. Washington doesn't strike out as much as you'd like, but Waldron's been an above average pitcher this season. The strikeout rate is right just below league average at 22%. But his swinging strikes are pretty decent, if I recall. Looking at that right now as well.
I can pull it up.
8.5%. It's 8.5%. Not Schwellenbach is the one that actually has the really strong swing strike rate. But so I do prefer Schwellenbach, even though I like the matchup better for Waldron. I think Waldron's pretty good. The price point is fine, and I'm not afraid of this Nationals offense. They're getting a ballpark downgrade going out to San Diego. There's not a ton of power in the lineup. I think he can survive 6 innings here, and I'd be fine with that at 8,300. And that's DK SP2 only. On FanDuel, it's a little bit different conversation. I think I would, on FanDuel, primarily just be living with the top 3, and Justin Steele would basically be my FanDuel pool. But SP2 on DK, sometimes I need to save a little bit of money. Waldron and Schwellenbach are the guys I'm going to do that with.
Yeah, not as significant as it was in years past, but no Goldie, no Arenado for St. Louis. Win, Burleson. Well, Burleson's been good this year. Contreras is back, also makes it a little bit tougher. Gorman can hit righties pretty hard as well. Falls off in the back end. Carlson, Carpenter, Crawford, Ciani. CJ Abrams' revenge. He was involved in that Juan Soto trade. J3 is asking what's stronger, CJ Abrams' revenge or Coors hangover? Clue number 2. Let's get clue number 2 out to the people for the movies. Clue number 2 is love. Love is clue number 2. Tell me what movie we're talking about in the Discord. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Did you have a take there on Waldron, Kirkwood?
Yeah, I love Waldron. So for me, it's he when his knuckler is dancing, he's elite, and he will rack up strikeouts. Now, if it's not and he doesn't have it, he's got a decent arsenal behind him, but he's not going to be getting many strikeouts. So if there's risk there, but also you look at it's a 3.2 team total for the Nats. It's the Coors hangover potentially in there. That's all kind of fluff. But anyway, if he's on, he's on, and he can. If you just look, it's not really like matchup with this guy. Like, look, his best start was 10 strikeouts against the Braves. Miami was a good start for him, but he had one of his best starts against Philly in his last start, and that's because his knuckler was working. So I like him a lot tonight at 8,300. I think he's just below from an ownership perspective. I think he's going to be just a little bit on the outside there. He's going to be a little bit behind Steele somewhere, and and I even like if you need to save some money, I don't mind playing Steele and Waldron together. Because, let's be honest, Peralta, as much as I like him tonight, Peralta, it's a low strikeout matchup. And he also has control issues from time to time. Reagans is pitching in 100-degree, heat with the wind blowing out. Crochet is playing the Dodgers. Now, granted, they don't have Mookie in the lineup, and they or Teoscar. The Teoscar one's a little strange, but he may have been banged up because they took him out of one of the Coors games a little while ago too, and they didn't really say anything about it. They didn't know whether it was for defensive purposes or not, but so he might be a little banged up. But so it's two batters, but like Will Smith's in there, so like I still think the Dodgers are. I mean, it's still a tough lineup to get through. So like there's warts on everybody here, as good as they are. So these guys steal against San Francisco and Matt Waldron in a nice matchup with the Nats. Like I said, if his knuckler's going, then he could be a top scorer tonight.
Some guesses being thrown in the chat here, trying to guess our movie. It's not The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, or somebody guessed Anchorman. Somebody joining late did not hear your guess, Kirkwood. It's not Money Pits or Friday Night Lights. It is not Hardball. Keanu Reeves. Or Inspector Clouseau. All right, let's.
I watched your recommendation.
What movie?
On Hulu, the crime documentary, the true crime documentary on that.
Oh, Perfect Wife. Yeah. I said if you like crime documentaries, I thought it was a really bonkers story. I wasn't aware of it. Don't give any spoilers.
I wasn't either, and I was like saying how awful your take was for the first episode because it just dragged on and on. I thought, but then it got much better. So
it gets there.
Sorry to doubt you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, if that's sort of your thing, if that's your bag, if you like true crime documentaries, I thought it was really interesting and worth watching.
Big Dateline guy. Big Dateline guy over here.
I love Keith Morrison. He's my guy. I love Keith Morrison. If Keith Morrison's hosting, I'm in. He's my guy. All right. It is not the Italian Job. Let's see. They're asking what the clues are. The clues are scrolling on the screen. The clues are Panthers, love, and the third clue is Freddie. Freddie is the third clue. So go ahead and fire off your guesses in the Discord. Let's get a winner. All right. Anything else as far as pictures? I feel like it's pretty straightforward when it comes to pictures. Trying to see if anybody has anything else. They're guessing movies here. What different kind of I'm just catching up with the chat. They're putting a spin on traditional movies. They're giving titles that we probably should be dropping there in the chat. All right. I feel like we've covered it all as far as pictures, Keith. Anything we should mention, or you want to give the old summary?
I mean, I literally have no other interest in any names on the list. So a summary, it is for me. I think it's an extremely strong top of the pitching range. I think Reagans is probably the safest due to the matchup against Miami. Also facing a bunch of righties in that lineup. Peralta and Crochet both have extreme upside for me, even though they're facing two offenses that are perceived to be pretty good. The Dodgers rolled out a lineup. They were already down Mookie Betts, and now they're not playing Teoscar Hernandez. Texas is dealing with a bunch of injuries as well, so Peralta has equally as much upside there. Justin Steele a little bit too cheap for a solid matchup going out to San Francisco. And then to save a little bit of salary, my two guys are Matt Waldron and Spencer Schwellenbach.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
I just looked at the umps we have tonight, and they had to throw Freddie Peralta. Has to get the extreme hitters on.
I think Lance Lynn has one as well, right? Unless did I make that up? I was checking it out earlier.
Yeah, I just look. I see it now. He does, and that's my favorite stack of the night. Anyways,
as always, I feel obligated to say it's the start of new series, so a lot of times these aren't official. Sometimes they will change, but as of right now, the two extremes are Lance Lynn and Schwellenbach with an extreme hitters umpire, and Peralta and Lorenzen with an extreme hitters umpire. Some more guesses coming in, by the way. It is not She's All That or Summer Catch. I don't know if there's a Freddie Prinze Jr. theme for some reason, but it is neither of those movies. It is not Judas and the Black Messiah or The Italian Job or Easy A, but do appreciate the guesses. People usually bank it on 3. I guess I made it a little bit tougher, but I promise you guys, somebody's going to get this. You're going to get to this, and it's all going to make sense by the time we knock it out. Okay, we're going to do the stacks in a second. 18 teams. We're going to rank our stacks. Tiers today. I'm trying to will this into existence, boys. I wasn't really sure what to do as far as stacks today. I'm trying to will it into existence. I power ranked teams, sports teams named Panthers. We're trying to will this into existence. So tell me in the chat. There's not a lot. Tell me in the chat, the best sports team named Panthers and the worst sports team named Panthers. Of course, we got Florida number 1. They might drop tomorrow. These are very, it's real-time rankings. We got the Florida Panthers number 1. We got the Dillon Panthers number 2. Shout out Friday Night Lights, Clear Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose. The Pitt Panthers, they're right in the middle. Right in the middle. Not a lot of options for Panthers. FIU, Florida International. Shout out to Miami. They're not spectacular, but they're not as bad as the Carolina Panthers. Sorry, I don't know if Will is lurking anywhere, but my apologies to Will. He's got a root for the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte. I was going to call them Bobcats, the Hornets. At least he's got the Braves, so he's got something. He's got something going for him. But there you go. That is our. Well, there wasn't much left to choose from. Did I miss anybody as far as Panthers? I think Polk High was the Panthers. Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one game, but nobody knows that. Yeah, well, that's nobody knows that, so I didn't put it on the board. Yeah. So
I think Chop's high school football team was the Panthers. Did you hear the story where he recovered the onside kick for the special teams, and it was in
he was offside, wasn't he?
It was
he was offside.
He was. They put him on the hands team, and it made his he gained so much confidence from that. He really excelled the next season. He says so. He said one play can make or break a whole future in football.
I just noticed that clue number 3 is not currently scrolling. It is Freddie. Oh, that's why people were guessing Freddie Prinze Jr. movies. Like I thought it was just like a weird thing. I'm like, well, yeah, clue number 3 is Freddie. Freddie. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's not. I'll give an additional clue. It's not a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie. I promise you. Unless he was like random dude in the corner. The Michigan Panthers or USFL, according to the chat. I was not aware of that. Is that still going on? USFL? Congratulations to
they merged with the XFL, right? So it's now the UFL, I believe. No longer any USFL. As confusing as that is.
You're not doing projections for that, Keith? You don't.
No, got out of that one.
Sorry, you lost. What you lost me at? What's this? What's Dillon Panthers?
Have you ever seen the TV show Friday Night Lights or the movie Friday Night Lights?
I've heard of it. I don't think I never.
Coach Taylor.
No. Wait, is that the Netflix? Is that like the documentary one?
No. Well, I mean, it's based off a book, like a Texas high school football.
I don't know. I never watched it. Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. Yeah, have you seen that before, Keith? You're probably aware of it. You probably heard people mention it before.
Yeah, I have seen it on Netflix. Yep.
Okay, there you go. Did you like it?
It was okay.
It's kind of like a little high school if you want to dig into that, but There you go. Yeah, the Dillon Panthers. There wasn't a lot of options. We're just trying to will the Florida Panthers to win the championship tonight. Some people in chat seem to like it. OG Anunoby declines player option, will become a free agent. All right. Well, didn't who just got paid today? Was it Scotty Barnes got paid by Toronto?
Yep.
Yeah, good for him. All right. Let's go ahead and power rank our teams. We should drop the fourth clue as well. I think we're not getting any winners just yet. It's not Mercury Rising, Five Nights at Freddy's. It's not. The fourth clue. Let's go ahead and drop the fourth clue. This is going to change things. This is get your fingers ready. The fourth clue is sin. Sin. So Panthers, Love, Freddy, and Sin. Those are our clues.
Keith, do you have any idea?
I have no clue.
Yeah,
none whatsoever.
I feel really, really confident somebody's going to get it. If not right now, they're going to get it. And we just got a winner. There you go. There you go. I knew we would get there. You got to be quick on that one. Shout out to D-Rock 1838. Amateur Hour just missed it. You get the home version of this game and some steak knives. But appreciate y'all playing. But yeah, D-Rock just knocked it out on Sin. Okay. And we have one more clue. We'll play it out for funsies. Let's go ahead and rank our teams. First team we're ranking. Kirkwood, you're on the board first. We're going to rank the Blue Jays and Boston. Tell us about your Red Sox and the gutless Blue Jays.
Wow. So this is tough because it's not a good spot for either offense. But the Red Sox are so hot right now. I'll bump them up. It is nice and hot here today. It's like 85 degrees outside. Not as humid as it has been. So my dew point isn't popping, but still a good ballpark, good weather. So give me Boston in the Dillon or Pitt. And then Toronto.
You got to commit one. You're going to confuse Steven.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, he can choose it, and then I'll put Toronto back there too. He knows where I'm leaning. Once.
Keith, you see the board. We currently have Boston and Pitt right in the middle. The Blue Jays hanging out with the FIU Panthers. Confirm, deny, any issues?
No issues with the Blue Jays there. Houck is an above-average pitcher. The Blue Jays are gutless. I don't have any interest in trying to pick on Houck on this slate. I'm kind of torn on Boston too. I was flirting with the Dillon category for them also because they're rolling out a bunch of lefties, and Chris Bassett is
7.
Yeah, below average against lefties. So given that lineup, I wish they were a little bit cheaper. Like Devers, I'm fine with being 5,700. Jarren Duran has been awesome. It feels weird to pay that price tag for him, but he's been incredible.
Let's bump them up to Dillon because they're running like crazy. They're stealing bags like crazy.
Yeah, I mean there's enough cheap stuff that you can make it worth. You got Dom Smith in there still. You've got Yoshida who's cheap. Reese McGuire is a cheap catcher. So yeah, I'm with it. Let's go Dillon.
All right, you guys agree then. Boston and Dillon, Toronto down there in FIU. Yeah, there's so many lefties there facing the Hound. Bassett, I just can't play. We didn't even talk about him. So usually we give him an acknowledgement of his presence, but 7 seems like too many lefties. 7 is an interesting number when considering this show. Atlanta versus St. Louis. It's Schwellenbach taking on Lance Lynn. Let's see. We have basically Atlanta's slight favorite here. Minus 124, 8.5 total. I feel like that total is a little bit too low when you consider the weather. Also, you have an extreme hitters umpire. This is your board, Keith. Where do you have Atlanta versus St. Louis? I was saying before, kind of a bummer. No Michael Harris. You want as many lefties as possible against Lynn. Kelnick looks awesome for cash. I'll just if you need a cash game hitter leading off on the road, feels like he's in a really good spot. What say you?
Yeah, I really like the lefties here. I was bummed to see Michael Harris in there as well. I love Matt Olson. I love Kelnick. The full stack, I'm not as totally sold on. They're flirting with Dillon also. I think I'm going to go Pitt with them just because we're rating full stacks here. If we're talking Atlanta lefties, they're top tier on the slate. But when we're talking full stack, I think I'm going to go Pitt with them. Lynn does have some skills to righties. Riley is expensive. Ozuna is expensive. Not that those guys are bad plays by any means, but just paying up for them, I'm struggling to do because I want to pay up for pitching so often today. So Atlanta is going to be in pit for me. St. Louis, I want the lefties here as well. I really like Nolan Gorman. Probably going to be more of a one-off than a stack for me, though. And there is a bunch of lefties, and there's cheap punt lefties as well. I will have some exposure to St. Louis as a mini stack. I don't know about the full stack for me. So I'm going to go, let's go FIU right there with the Cardinals.
Kirkwood?
I'm going to be a little out there today. I'm going the Braves at the top of the board in Florida.
Do you want to sell it? You want to give us I actually agree. I agree with you. I think they should be at least in Dillon.
So Lance Lynn is terrible. Let's call it like he is. He's a little overweight, would you say? It's going to be little husky. 95 degrees with a great dew point. We're talking 69-degree dew point, 69% dew point, and he's going to throw his heat. He's going to throw his different combinations of his fastball, and they're going to get to him. And the Braves are finally coming around and starting to hit and hitting for some power lately, and it's not the best ballpark, but the weather conditions put this up there for me. And, just the upside of the line. Like Matt Olson is probably my favorite play on the slate. I think, he's a juggalo bomb for sure. And, all these guys, Ozuna has been just tearing the cover off the ball of anyone. Riley is fine. I would wish they had more lefties. Albies will be hitting lefties better on the right side. It doesn't matter. Kelnick is a good spot for him. There's just so much upside on this stack, in my opinion, that I'm putting. That's where I'm going.
All right, so I will have to put. So we're moving. I guess I'll put Atlanta and Dillon. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way up to. Maybe it's a kind of a compromise, but I like Atlanta. Maybe you know what? Keep Atlanta in Florida. I'm with you, Kirkwood. Like Alex,
you're going to see sweat. This is going to be bigger than Sweaty Strasburg. This is Sweaty Lynn. We're going to be saying Sweaty Lynn by the end of this season.
That was a Brit's old narrative about Strasburg always sweating when it was like 80. He had splits of like 88 miles, whatever it was, 88 miles per hour. That's Back to the Future. 88 degrees. But Alex in chat saying Lynn he's dripping when it's like 52 degrees out there. And also he's an ornery fella too. And he's gonna be dripping wet, sweating. He's not gonna be getting the corners because he has an extreme hitters umpire. It doesn't line up great to Lynn for Lynn today. I like Atlanta a good bit as well. By the way, do want to shout out D-Rock. D-Rock got our movie correct. By the way, our fifth clue, just for funsies, our fifth clue, and this is where maybe you guys will know this now, is box. Box. So Panthers, Love, Freddie, Sin, and Box. Those are our 5 clues. But our winner, D-Rock, was generous enough to say, you know what? I've won this before. I've won it several times. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the person that finished right after me. So he's giving it to Amateur Hour. Very kind of D-Rock. Congratulations now to Amateur Hour getting a week free of RG Premium. Do you happen to know the answer by chance of the no? All right, Kirkwood, you know this movie. You've seen this movie before. Well, it's on screen now if you're watching the screen. That's why I was talking about 7 lefties for facing for Boston, facing Toronto's pitcher. Also, it's game 7 tonight. It's game 7. Game 7. All right. Every once in a while.
Good job.
Every once in a while, there's a method to. Well, yeah. I should give the answer. How do Panthers? Well, it all sort of melds together. How do Panthers work? Starring Brad Pitt, the Pitt Panthers. That's how we got Panthers. Freddie, Morgan.
That's reaching, dude.
It's the first clue. You're not supposed to get it. I don't want you baking it. I don't want you to get in the first clue. Yeah, I'm making the first clue hard, but it makes sense in the end. Freddie, Morgan Freeman. Kevin Love, Kevin Spacey. So the 3 main actors. 7 Deadly Sins. And if you saw the movie, spoiler, there's a box. You've seen 7, Kirkwood. Kirkwood, right?
Yeah, I don't remember any of that. I don't remember a box. I don't remember.
Then you didn't see the movie. You know, it's a
I've
scene you don't
definitely
You have to
seen it.
remember the box.
Okay, Keith, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
I don't remember. What's the box?
Get what's in the box.
I don't remember.
Give me the gift. Give me the gift, Steve. Maybe the gift. This doesn't do anything for you. Nothing.
Oh, okay. I remember the scene now. First of all, when I watch movies, it's usually I'm on edibles or something. So I never get.
I'll do a curve next time and factor that in. But there you go. Congratulations. Thanks for playing. Every single day we give away premium. For one reason or another. Spinning a wheel. We've got the Athlete Thursday. Tim is telling us no spoilers. It's been like 28 years, but okay. We didn't officially give any spoilers. I don't think we just asked what was in the box. All right. Back on track as far as our teams. Let's see. Kirkwood, you're up next. Dodgers, White Sox, 8 total.
I think you skipped the Cincinnati game, Dean. If we're going in Time Lord.
No, you're right. Yeah, I did it 2 games ago. My bad. So Kirkwood, you have Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. That is my bad. Carson Spires taking on Bailey Falter. 9.5 total. Obviously a good hitting environment there in Cincinnati. It's going to be hot as well. Wind blowing out mildly to center field. Kirkwood, Pirates, Reds. What do you
got? Okay, switch on. So Reds, they're going to be. I like the ballpark. Obviously, I think this game could be pretty sneaky. I think it's going to be. Let me just double check the ownership here on the actual stack. I like both sides. This feels like a game stack to me, kind of just because I like the park. It's not the best, most attackable pitchers, but they're not the greatest pitchers either as well. So yeah, put them right like in Dylan, and I would put them both side by side because Pittsburgh's pretty cheap. You can do a lot with that stack, and then but they both have upside.
Yeah, it's the battle of the Cruzes as well. Ellie De La Cruz versus O'Neill Cruz. Much prefer Ellie De La Cruz versus a righty, but certainly he always has upside every single game. What do you got here? We confirm, we deny, we're good with this, Keith, as far as both Pittsburgh and Cincy being in the Dillon Panthers. Does that work for you?
It does work for me. I like this game a lot. Definitely we'll have plenty of exposure to both sides. For me, the Reds, like Ellie is expensive and he's better from the other side, but at least he still runs. So if he can get on base, he still has upside. I absolutely love Spencer Steer and Tyler Stevenson. As far as like straight hitters, I would take them over Ellie De La Cruz because of the lefty matchup here. But it's the ballpark for me. I like both teams because of the park. The Pittsburgh side, they're cheap, like Kirkwood mentioned, and I'm trying to pay up for pitching today. Brian Reynolds is underpriced. He's one of my favorite hitters on the slate, and he doesn't have an elite price. O'Neill Cruz is getting more expensive, but still not an elite price. And then you have a bunch of salary savers in there. I definitely prefer the lefties. Jack Sawinski, one of my favorite cheapies. I don't mind McCutchen, but you can go down to Rowdy Tellez as well. So I'll be playing a ton of Pittsburgh cheapies, and I'll have some full stacks that include Reynolds and Cruz as well. Spires is up over 38% fly balls on the season. I know he's been pretty good up to this point, and his peripherals are kind of lining up to match that, but he's given up enough hard contact and enough fly balls that I don't mind chasing some home runs here. And saving some money with Pittsburgh sounds like a great idea to me.
Looks like we're getting an MLB debut for Levi Jordan, who is like 28, 29, and not in the player pool. I was looking like, who is this dude for Cincinnati? Long past any sort of prospect status, but yeah, he's almost 29. So good for him getting his, as far as I can tell, I think this is his MLB debut. He's not in the player pool, just sort of mentioning it. At least he's not in the DK player pool, and if that almost definitely means he's not in the FanDuel pool as well. Keith, what do you have as far as the Dodgers? Now the Dodgers and the White Sox, 8 total. Paxton, Crochet, Dodgers rarely in games that have 8 totals, but, tough matchup here versus Crochet. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, you'll rarely see the Dodgers at the bottom of this list, but I think they go in FIU today. Like you're not getting much leverage. Like we're not showing Crochet for a ton of ownership. They're rolling out a watered down lineup. Freeman has struggled with lefties this season. Mookie Betts still out of the lineup. No Teoscar Hernandez. I have no interest in trying to pick on the 35% strikeout rate from Garrett Crochet. So, like, sure, play Ohtani as a one-off, but that's really all I want here. Will Smith could lead the catching position, but just give me the one-offs here more than the stack. So FIU for the Dodgers, and I'll go FIU with the White Sox as well. Paxton's strikeouts has completely disappeared. That's the only reason they're not in Carolina for me. I don't know that they have the upside to win a slate because there's not a ton of talent here, but Paxton has been beatable this year.
All right, both teams in FIU. Producer Steve, am I not seeing them on the screen? They're going to pop up there in a second, I imagine. But yeah, Keith, no, not Keith, Kirkwood. You probably don't see it on the screen, but both teams are in FIU right now. That's the White Sox and the Dodgers. Agree? Disagree?
Okay, I'll put both of them in the middle, but with a caveat here. So, like, I like the White Sox just because Paxton, I think, is just awful. He's just been getting absolutely as lucky as it can be. He had his best start, obviously, was his last start. But so I like some of these White Sox bats, but I would only go mini stack or like one-offs with them. But I like them, so I'm totally comfortable playing like playing any of their power bats. And then the Dodgers are the Dodgers, so they can, Crochet's looked good so far, but like it's not outside of the realm of possibilities for the Dodgers to bang them up here tonight. So even though it's a watered down lineup, I still think they can be. So I put them both in the middle at Pitt.
I can't believe this is going to be my ruling, but I am going to keep the Dodgers in FIU and move the White Sox up to Pitt. And, I just think that Paxton, like you said, has been super lucky this year. And also, like, the White Sox are pretty cheap. With a couple exceptions. Eloy he had a setback, but now he's back in the lineup, so I guess he's fine. I would be on alert for like scratch alert, but I'm assuming he's good to go if they have him written in there. And they have their best lineup, I guess, that they can possibly make with Pham, Vaughn, Robert, Jimenez. DeYoung's really cheap. I think DeYoung's an interesting cheapie if you want a cheap source of power. He's got like 13 or 14 homers this year. But yeah, I do feel gross saying the White Sox they're kind of like a secondary, like 3-man is kind of where I'm at. And even Jolks has got a little bit of power, a little bit of speed. I'm not going to play Mendick. All right. Marlins, Kansas City. Roddery Munoz taking on Cole Reagans, 9.5 total. Kansas City with almost a 6 total. We talked about this several times throughout the show. The weather in KC, 98 degrees. Let me go ahead and give a refresh here on see if anything's changed when it comes to the weather, when it comes to Weather Edge. Yeah, 81 game sample, 98 degrees, 12 mile per hour winds to left center, 23% in homer bumps, 21% bump in runs as well in the 81 previous games. And most of those games, I'm going to guess, better starting pitchers than Roddery Munoz. All right, Kirkwood, this is your board. Where do we have the Royals and the Marlins?
So what? Yeah, I mean, the Royals are the best spot of the night, so you got to put them up top. Now, can they bust? Sure, they're still the Royals, but and I guess I'd put Miami down. I still think Miami could. I'm gonna put them in FIU, Miami, and that's probably gonna be a little bit of a hot take, but so we're good.
All right. Kansas City all up top with the Florida Panthers, and we have hanging out there with the FIU Panthers is the Marlins, which makes sense because they're both based in Miami, except the Marlins might not be good enough to be in FIU. You tell me, Keith, where should the Marlins be?
Yeah, I think I'd leave them in Carolina. There's just not enough talent here to beat Cole Reagans, I don't think. Can they really string a bunch of hits together against him? The guy doesn't give up a ton of home runs. And he strikes out the world against righties, and they're rolling out 8 righties. I don't see the upside for the Marlins. I won't be trying to stack against a very chalky Cole Reagans, so I certainly understand the game.
Have you seen sweaty? Have you seen a sweaty Reagans yet?
Yeah, last season when he dominated the entire second half of the season.
He is pretty good.
Is there a worse 5-hole hitter than Tim Anderson? Have you seen Tim Anderson's numbers? Like, he had a great career, good for him, but it's so over. And the Marlins are saying there are 4 guys worse than him. And they might be right. Gordon's been okay this year, actually. Like, whatever. Lopez, disaster. Rivera, not good. Fortes, terrible. I just can't. Find me a worse 5-hitter than Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I'm gonna still say this. I like 1 through 4, and I'm fine. I kind of like them tonight. They're probably gonna lose. They're probably gonna be horrible. Reagan's probably gonna strike everybody out, and I'm gonna. But like, I can just see it in this weather, in this game, these two teams, and Jazz is cheap, Berger's cheap. I mean, they're all cheap.
All right. So I'm going to keep the Marlins down there in Carolina. I'm going to side with Keith here. Let's move on. We have 4 games to go. Crunch time coming in 15 minutes. Tasteful Tides, Tim. Some would call him Swaggy T. I would not. Squirrel Patrol, as well as Kevin Roth. That is the threesome coming in about 15 minutes or so. All right. Next game on the board. Texas, the Rangers. Milwaukee, the Brewers. Freddie Peralta, Michael Lorenzen, 8 total. Milwaukee, pretty big favorite here, minus 178. This is Keith's board. Keith, where do you have the Brewers and the Rangers?
Michael Lorenzen has been pretty lucky this season. The Brewers have been a good offense against right-handed pitching. I don't know what to do with them in this spot. Like, they're expensive, and Lorenzen's gotten results, even though I'm not quite buying his results. I think that I'm just going to leave him in the middle because I'm not sure what to do with them. Give me Pitt for the Brewers. And Texas is definitely going to be down at the bottom. I'll go FIU. Peralta is prone to losing his command sometimes and just blowing up in starts. He'll run his pitch count up way too high. So you could see some long innings from the Brewers bullpen in a situation like that. I think it's much more likely that Peralta strikes out 10 than that outcome occurs. But I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that they get to Peralta a little bit. So I'll go FIU.
What do you got, Kirkwood?
Yeah, kind of like Milwaukee here in this spot. I think Lorenzen's kind of smoke and mirrors. I don't really want to attack Peralta. I get it with the walks and things can unravel, and he's also could be potentially homer prone too at times when he's off. But I just haven't seen enough. They're starting to come alive. At least Langford is. Langford's starting to come alive for sure. And that lineup is still kind of scary, but I think we're good where we are.
We just got a couple of lineups in for what it's worth. So we got the Giants a few minutes ago. Slater is leading off. Ramos, Flores, Soler, Chapman, Estrada, Matos, Casali, and Ahmed. That is the Giants tonight. Patrick Sandoval shut down. Tommy John surgery. That's a bummer for him. We dig at Oakland. That's Blade and Duhar. Rooker, Sanderstrom, Langoliers, Langele, Nevin, Giloff, Butler, and Diaz. Still waiting for San Diego. That might come a little bit later than expected because we're not sure if Tatis is playing or not. No Washington just yet. No Cubbies just yet. That's it. We got everything else. Okay. Oakland, the aforementioned Athletics taking on the Angels. Griffin Canning, not very good. 9 total for these two offenses that are not spectacular. Medina on the other side as well, another arm that is worth picking on. I think, Kirkwood, this is your board. Medina versus Griffin. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Griffin Canning is definitely someone we want to go after tonight. Oakland, despite what Eric says, I mean, they have power. So I do, and that's what we want against Canning is power. We want guy, he gives up a fair amount of home runs. He's got one of the highest home run per nines on the slate for sure. He should. Let me see what it is at just for curiosity. Yeah, he's 4th.
I got it.
He's 4th on this. He's 4th on the slate. So I like the A's. I like more mini stacks with them, but Dylan is good for me for them, and then I don't really care much about the Angels, but they are facing Oakland. So I mean,
you're gonna trust Steve? Steve's put him in the Angels in Pitt in the middle.
Yeah, that's fine because they're facing Funky Cole Medina is pretty bad.
But I see Canning as the second highest homers per 9. You probably have the all.
Well, I've got
yeah.
Rod. It's not. I've got like Rodri in there, which shouldn't count, but
well, Rodri's he's the worst. Do you want to take a guess?
Lance Lynn is the next, then Bailey Falter, then Canning.
Well, no, you must have different years or something than me. Are you stretching it back to last season? That's probably what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. This year specific, Canning is 1.56, 80 innings. Rodri Munoz this year, and it's small sample stuff, right? A lot of fly balls. He's got a 30.6% homer to fly ball, which is outrageous, especially in his home ballpark. He's given up 3.34 homers per nine. That is like, you have to get kicked out of the league at some point. Like, not even like, the shortstop that comes in the ninth inning gives up 3.34 homers. Maybe he does. I'm not sure. They're power ranking Tim's in the chat, by the way. I don't know if you guys want to join that conversation.
They had the Tim Wakefield, rest in peace.
Big time Tim and Jim, Tim Lincecum. Tim Raines, Tim Rock Raines. A lot of Tims being thrown out there. Tim said he's going to be ranking Tim's tomorrow on the People Show. We'll see. We'll see if he does. Happy to yield.
Can you put my brother Tim on there? Can he make it? I have a brother named Tim.
Your brother? I'm sure he's I'm sure he's a nice guy, but like we're trying. It's a big net, and I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure he's spectacular, but
maybe you guys would give me a little special treatment, but no.
Tim, the cashier at Publix, is a great dude. You guys don't know him, but I promise, he's in the 4th spot. It's somebody that some people should know, be aware of. But all right, Keith, what do you got here? Are we good with any issues with Kirkwood's rankings?
No issues. I like the A's a good amount tonight, especially to save some salary. Soderstrom's one of my favorite value plays on the entire slate. Blade is cheap and good. Rooker has been really good this season. Langeliers at catcher, I really like as well. So I'm totally with the A's being up there in Dillon. The Angels, shockingly to me, have the 3rd highest implied run total on the slate, which
yes.
I mean, I get Medina is not good, but come on, this is a bad offense we're talking about here. I don't know what to do with that. Very similar to the Brewers. They have a healthy team total as well.
I think this is the total. I know people don't. This is a nice game stack game too. Like this game, it could just go off or it could be horrible.
It feels kind of gross to say that, though, right? I mean, I hear you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but doesn't it feel gross saying that?
I know. And then they pull. You're going to try to play Willie Calhoun at Florida. He's going to get pinch hit for after 1 or 2 at bats.
Yeah, playing the Angels doesn't feel great. I feel better about Oakland, even though they have the lower total.
Medina's got really similar numbers to Paxton. Paxton 11.8% walks, Medina 10.8. Paxton 15.4% Ks, 14% Ks for Medina. Their Sierra basically identical, 5.65, 5.43. Both have been pretty bad. All right, Gator Nation with a terrible take in chat. Winn-Dixie is not better than Publix. That's not up for debate. It's a Florida thing. Well, actually, Publix is outside of Florida now.
I've been to it in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's in most of the South now. It's spreading, but that's a rough take.
They make good subs, is what I remember. Like they had
Publix is very
above average grocery store sub station.
Very solid. Like there's a Jersey Mike's in like my local Publix, like in the plaza, and like I can't imagine going to Jersey. I don't even know if their sub's good or not. I've never had it before, but why would I? Just get the Publix sub. All right. We have, I think, 2 games left or 1 game left.
Wow. Jared Barton, friend of the show, Jared Barton coming in hot saying nothing more overrated than Publix. He shops at Whole Foods, though.
Oh, jeez. First of all, the BOGOs are spectacular. The prices are kind of, but the BOGO. Somebody's touting Piggly Wiggly, which I think that's also in the South. All right. Washington, San Diego, Matt Waldron, Patrick Corbin. I'm getting thrown off here by the sub conversation. I don't recall who was up next. 7.5 total. Most of this number going to San Diego. We don't have a San Diego lineup just yet, but and again, I really want to play Tatis. I think everybody wants to play Tatis, but he's kind of banged up. He's got a couple body parts. I think one of them is biceps. Hasn't played for the last several games. Would be in a spectacular spot against Corbin. Profar and Machado look good as is. It would be cheap. There's already cheap stuff around him. I would love to see Kim move up in the lineup. Maybe if Tatis is out, he might get a bump. But is this Keith's board or is this who's up next?
I think
who
it's
wants
mine.
to take it? Go for it, Keith.
Yeah, San Diego up in the top at Florida for me. They're one of my favorite stacks on the slate. We've been picking on Patrick Corbin for years. San Diego's been a good offense this season. Whether Tatis is in there or not, I'm gonna have a ton of San Diego full stacks. If he's not in there, they're just cheaper, which allows me to get up to the higher end of pitching that I absolutely love today as well. You mentioned some of the names. Profar's been amazing this season. Kim historically has been great against lefties. Solano has been a nice addition to this lineup as well. So I love San Diego. Might be my favorite stack on the entire slate. They're right there with Kansas City for me. And then Washington, I really have no interest in. I think Waldron's an above average pitcher. I'll leave them in FIU just because they're cheap and you can take some shots on them. But I don't have any real interest.
So in the chat, they're asking about if we're squad riding today. Yeah, it wasn't officially posted in the squad ride channel, but Jamino is leading the squad, and he posted it in like the internal Slack, but it was never posted in the public Discord. So I should just tell the people, and I guess somebody's going to post it momentarily, but it is Crochet under 17.5 outs at plus 122. I don't know if that line has moved, but that was the bet earlier today. So for whatever reason, miscommunication, but it was not posted officially in that Discord channel. Just want to clear that up. Jump in here, Kirkwood. Any issue with Keith's rankings?
No, because I love Waldron. So I first of all, it depends how chalk. I mean, the San Diego is going to be pretty chalky, right?
I think a lot of it depends on Tatis. Yeah, it's Tatis mostly, and we don't know if he's playing or not.
Tatis may not even make the line, may not even play tonight. So like, and I've been fading these guys a lot recently, and Machado, because the Tatis and Machado have both been playing through injury, and that's like well known. And now Tatis has a new injury, but Machado burned me the other night.
Gutless.
Yeah, they're gutless. I'm not falling for this trap. I'm not.
It's Patrick Corbin, man. If they don't score 4 runs off of Corbin, they're forever gutless.
I'm gonna play Patrick Corbin tonight.
No, you're not doing that. You're going too far now.
Let's go, Eric. Let's ride, Eric.
Post this on Twitter. I don't believe you. I want to see your lineup. Is this in the penny contest on DK or like?
Eric, Eric's gonna do it.
You're playing in the penny contest. That doesn't count.
Let's go. It's Corbin time.
Where are you moving San Diego to? Because we currently have him all the way up top of Florida, and I'm not with Keith on this take. I'm
going to put him in FIU, so you guys can do what you want.
That's a big move. I think we should put San Diego in Pitts right in the middle. Let's put him right in the middle, and it's subject to change with the whole.
So let's say Tatis doesn't make the lineup. Are you're full stack in this still? You like Araz? You like Profar? I get Solano. You like
Kim moves up. Profar is still pretty cheap. Solano is really cheap. So I like it like as a mini. I think it's a really good mini to supplement, like 3 or 4. I'm probably not going to run 5. But like mostly the righties, obviously. And Arise I would never play unless I'm
I would love to play Merrill, but the lefty against Corbin, it's pretty tough.
You can do that, though. He's been on fire. I think Kim would jump up on the lineup. I assume he would, but who knows? But it is subject to change. We have one more game before crunch time comes in. Let's knock it out, boys. The Cubbies and the Giants steal versus Spencer Howard. Spencer Howard is not allowed to start baseball games, so Eric Miller's got to start the game for him. And Howard maybe comes in at some point. I don't know. Probably comes in as the next guy. He just never is allowed to start. Kirkwood, tell us about the Cubs and the Giants. 7.5 total. Cubs are favorites here. Terrible ballpark. Not a ton of runs expected here in San Fran.
Eric Miller, third highest home run per 9 on the slate, according to
what's his innings pitch, like 20?
Let's see here. Well, 35.
Yeah,
okay.
Miller's only going one inning. He's an opener. It's Spencer Howard.
He might go 2. I don't really care. I was joking. I don't really care about that call. Let's see here. I don't like this game much at all. It would have to be on the Cubs side after a big tough loss that I hit the Mets hard with my boy Steve last night, so I'm happy for that. But give me the Cubbies in Yeah, that's fine, Steve. You knew, and then San Fran put them down in FIU. Plus, they're just so annoying with their pinch hits.
Keith?
Good with San Francisco. I don't have any interest picking on Justin Steele. I'm torn on the Cubs. I want to play some. We don't really know what Spencer Howard is. He's been injured for most of his career, so it's hard to say what he really is at this point. I don't love the ballpark downgrade here, but I do have some interest in picking on Spencer Howard. We do know he has a walk problem. Even in the minors, he's walked a few too many guys. So I like Cubs stacks. I wish the ballpark was better, so I'd probably have him in Pitt, but I'm okay with leaving him in Dillon too.
I will agree with you. Let's move them to Pitt. Here's the full board. 2 teams all the way up top of the Florida Panthers. That's the Atlanta Braves, the Kansas City Royals. Hanging out with the Dillon Panthers. That is Boston, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and the A's. How did that happen? Pittsburgh, the Pitt Panthers right in the middle. The White Sox, the Brewers, the Angels, San Diego, and the Cubs. It's like a bizarro world with some of these teams. But, yeah, they kind of sort of deserve it when we break it down. FIU, Toronto, St. Louis, Dodgers, Texas, Washington, San Fran, all by themselves hanging out with the Carolina Panthers is the dreadful Miami Marlins. We have to get a Juggalo bomb for the people. I know Crunch Time is here, but Kirkwood, you've been teasing it throughout the show. Who is today's Juggalo bomb?
It's also the Kirk Diggler dong of the night. It's a rare Diggler dong and Juggalo bomb, and that's Matt Olson. Yeah, this is a very rare selective play. So Matt Olson for sure. And you know who I think's who's gonna do it for my lineups tonight?
Who's that?
Rowdy Roddy Tellez.
You can roster 2 out of these 3 guys. Keith, I know you roster like 40 lineups. You're gonna have shares of all of them. But Matt Olson, let's assume Tatis is playing, and Bobby Witt. You gotta cut one. Who we cut it?
Wow.
Those are 3 best hitters on the slate, right? I think.
Yes, I think I agree with that. It's Witt 1 for me. The team total there, the weather there. With this Tatis injury, I think I'd go Olsen 2 and Tatis 3.
All right, so let's go ahead and bring in Crunch Time. We got Dave Potts. Tease is good. We got what are we calling Tim? Tease. What was the
Swaggy
ridiculous?
T? Swaggy T is
that's
my nickname.
Yeah,
for
we're
him,
not doing that, but allegedly some would say Swaggy T, as well as Kevin Roth, Chief General Kevin Roth. We got Crunch Time. Here they come right now. Kevin Roth, have you recovered from the Kirk Diggler dong of the night? You said you heard that one in chat.
That's the first time I've heard that one. I died.
It's a rare play. It's a rare play, so it only comes on so often.
What does that graphic look like?
I don't want to see
Steve,
that.
Steve, can you come up with a graphic, please?
Yeah, shout out to Boogie Nights.
All you got to do is blur it. You just got to blur it, like censor it.
It's one of my top 5 movies of all time. There you go. It's a spectacular. One of the most rewatched movies.
The firecracker, the firecracker kid, and
there's so many good scenes.
Just amazing.
Have you guys seen
cast? Incredible cast. Incredible cast.
Great movie.
All right, Roth. How was your weekend? How are things?
It's good. It's good. It's an easy weather day. I like that. And we got Game 7. I mean, are you just absolutely shitting bricks right now, or are you like looking forward to this? Where do you stand?
Well, I mean, like I heard
the only 2 options.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's 2 choices. There's 2 choices. You can, hoist the cup, be, the most difficult, the best championship to raise in all sport, arguably, or that's what we prefer. Or B, you go down.
Backtrack that. The best what?
The best prize, the most difficult prize to win in all sports, team sports. What's more difficult? What's your issue?
They're all like roughly a 1 in 30 shot, depending on how many teams are in the league.
But like the hockey season, it's like it feels like it wears more of the players in hockey than it does like in other sports. I think. No, we're having an issue with that. Tim, back me up, Tim. You're the hockey guy.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, Dina, on this point. I think the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win in all of sports.
But that wasn't the main point. The main point is, okay, win the Stanley Cup. Spectacular. 2 options. Or B, you go down as a laughing stock. Like you're now a punchline indefinitely. People are always going to reference you like, whoa, with the Panthers, you can always blow it like the Panthers in 2062, and assuming it never happens again. When I'm long gone, people are still going to be referencing, well, the Panthers, that Bob Roski, he caved.
So how do you feel? Like, how are you feeling right now? You feel
great. But it's the thrill. It's the fun. Like you go on the road.
You know what? There's a lot of footage. If Steve could go back and find you of saying that the Panthers have it locked, it's just which game they're gonna win it on. So I'm really hoping that he can go back and find some of that footage and do a little montage. If, God forbid, not only if you lose, but if my 5-unit play of the day on the Edmonton Oilers wins, everybody who's watching, 5-unit play, put the account on it. Edmonton is winning tonight.
And are even the non-hockey fans watching? You're going to watch, right, Roth? You mentioned.
And I learned a lesson watching. I know I shouldn't be doing this because I saw how the Mavs treated Roth after his confidence.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful. Game 7 in hockey is the best thing you can watch, I think, in all sports. Game 7 in hockey, and it's for the Stanley Cup. I'm watching.
I kind of want overtime. How much fun would that be? Torture, but fun.
Yeah.
Game 7 overtime. I think the Rangers may have done overtime. Am I wrong in saying that? I might be wrong in saying that. But Dave, you're a sneaky hockey guy. Who's winning? You help make me feel better. I think Edmonton wins. I'm afraid to say it. I have some hedge tickets. I did bet Edmonton down 3-0 just for funsies.
That's a good idea. So Florida's going to win. And yet still the Dillon Panthers should be ahead of them on the list. Florida's going to win.
I'm glad somebody got the reference there for the Dillon Panthers. We explained it earlier, but there you go. Clear eyes, full hearts.
Man, season 1 of that is one of the best things to ever happen.
So good.
All right, we should step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time. Myself, Kirkwood, Keith. I'll be watching the game tonight, and either way, we'll see. We're hope. But I'm very excited and I'm very nervous. That's you're supposed to be. That's part of the fun, right? Go Panthers. Crunch time. Crunch time is now. Roth, take it away.
Texas forever, Dean. All right, hey, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It is crunch time. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz here, helping to walk us through the slate. A mostly weather-free slate at that, which is lovely. I love the hitting weather in St. Louis. It is outrageous. It's 100 degrees. Winds are blowing out. It's humid. It is a 10 out of 10 weather day in St. Louis. And there is the lowest chance of a delay in Boston, but it's the lowest chance. Don't even sweat it. And that's it. That's the whole weather spiel. So with that, we bring in the crew. Dave Potts, Cheese is good. What up, Cheese?
Not too much. Good slate. A lot of everything.
Okay. That's
how we like it, with no weather issues.
We got Tasteful Tides as well. Was it T-Swizzle? Swaggy T? What was?
I believe it's Swaggy T. That's what
Swaggy
he's going for.
It fits. The moniker fits. We got Swaggy T in the house.
I really wish it didn't fit, but that's okay.
How are things?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited for Game 7. I was up until about 4 or 5 this morning playing poker, so I'm pretty exhausted, but I'm going to stay up and watch Game 7.
Were you playing online poker, or were you in a poker room just grinding out live poker?
Online poker.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that's still a thing. I thought that was illegal. I thought that was made illegal. No, it's back.
We don't have to get into the full details of it.
Okay, never mind. I guess maybe it still is harder to find. See, Kirkwood wants the details. All right, maybe we'll talk offline. We'll discuss this offline. All right, let's talk about the slate a little bit. Cheese, you want to lead us into the discussion here as far as what's going on?
Yeah, it's a good pitching slate with 3 and or 4 aces and or even 5, depending on how you want to quantify Tanner Houck and Justin Steele. So we have, I think Cole Reagans is the chalk. He's my top pitcher, but very closely followed by Garrett Crochet and Freddie Peralta. And I think all 3 of those guys will get some ownership, with Crochet definitely the lowest. But they all have, the best case scenario game for all of them is just huge with 12 strikeouts. So I just will take, despite the fact he's facing the Dodgers, give me the better pitcher of the three at the lowest ownership of the three. So Reagan's Crochet is my favorite combo if I can make it work. I'm going to be under the field on Freddie Peralta. I've no issue if you call Peralta your SP1. I have no issue with it, but for me, he's third. I don't have any Tanner Houck. I also don't have any problem with him. Like, he's very good at pitching, but it's just kind of a weird price on this particular slate.
Mm-hmm.
On DK, Justin Steele is kind of jumping out, about $1,000 cheaper than those guys. In San Francisco, he looks back to normal. I think he and Matt Waldron are very playable at that mid-tier. I've got lineups with the two of them together. And I would say the majority of my lineups have either Reagans or Crochet with either Steele or Waldron. To me, that's kind of you can fit pretty good bats without even going cheaper than that.
But
when you need to go cheaper, it's where it's get interestings. I'm not sure if any of these are words.
Interestings.
I'm Dave Potts. So I like Carson Spears the best. Spires, however we're saying his name. I still think Griffin Canning is the chalk, not chalk in a Cole Reagans way, but the most popular of the cheap pitchers because he's facing Oakland. The problem is he's not good at pitching. I'm not willing to play even a moderately popular pitcher who's as bad as he is. It could work out because it's Oakland. I'm not going to yell at you for playing him. I'm just telling you I have 0 on either side. So Schwellenberger, if you prefer,
I do.
And Carson Spires are the two cheap guys that I'm using, but they're both in, risky spots. Neither of them are great pitchers.
What is Spires' price? I don't even see him on the list here of like top 10 owned.
6,400.
Oh, okay.
He's like 1% owned. And if you wanted to play really kind of any cheap nonsense, I think it's defensible. But really, when you start building lineups, there just isn't that much you have to spend on with bats. So I don't think it's that hard to spend up. And also the fact that I don't really like the cheap guys is why I'm willing to do Steele Waldron combo rather than playing like a Reagans or a Peralta with one of these cheap guys. I would rather get two better pitchers. But again, for me, Schwellenbach and Spires are the only two that I'm personally playing in the dumpster diving category.
Okay, very good. Tim, I want to bring you in here. It seems like there are a lot of options at many different tiers. So how are you approaching the slate, both cash and GPPs?
Yeah, so
Tatis is out. He's going on the IL.
Yeah, Tatis is out. So that's a little bit, pretty significant downgrade for the Padres stack tonight, but still a great stack for
changes the slate a lot. Like
it really does. It really
does. 2 or 3 highest owned batters.
Yeah,
and also just another reason you can spend up on pitching. There just isn't that much to spend on, as we'll get to. But
who do you think goes to lead off? Kim, Dave?
I would have to think Kim gets the bump.
Yeah, that's a big bump for Kim.
Yeah, against a lefty, that's what I would do.
Right, that's what I would do. Also, that would be a huge bump for him.
What was he batting? What were we planning on him batting?
Like 8th,
I think.
Okay, yeah,
7th. Yeah, we had him 7th, but now he's probably going to be, leading off, I would imagine. So, but yeah, back to pitching. Originally this whole day I thought, Cole Reagans and Justin Steele were going to be my easy cash game and single entry team. But then I saw the Dodgers lineup, which I never thought I'd say. This Dodgers lineup does not look very good. And we've got Garrett Crochet with his humongous strikeout rate going up against a team that does not have Mookie. It does not have Teoscar Hernandez. So now I'm contemplating, and Crochet's projection went up, obviously, because of that. They replaced Teoscar with Jason Hayward. So, that's a massive 1v1 in Crochet's favor. So I'm kind of contemplating going Reagan's Crochet, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm not considering Tanner Houck. I'm fine. I think he's a very, very good real life pitcher, but I think he's too expensive for the slate. I think there's, way better options right around the same price range. I don't think he has the upside. I doubt you need him to win a GPP. The one guy that I am a little bit more nervous that you might need to win a GPP is Freddie Peralta. He definitely has upside in this matchup. I am not going to roster him because I prefer Crochet, Reagans, and Justin Steele more. I didn't quite catch what Cheese said about Canning, but I am not on board with pitching Griffin Canning, especially
I said
the
I
fact
have
that,
zero.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be projected around 15%. Like, that's pretty high given how many games there are and how many like really, really good pitchers there are. So I actually am playing 3 Oakland A's in my single entry team right now. So I would say probably the cheapest pitcher I would go is maybe Spencer Schwellenbach, but that's the game that you just said. It's 100 degrees and like perfect hitting conditions in St. Louis. So I don't even know if I do that now. So probably I would just stick kind of in this upper tier and just like mix and match Crochet, Reagan, Steele, and then maybe get to some Waldron and then throw in Peralta if you're MMEing. But I really don't like any of these cheap pitchers.
Okay. Let's talk about FanDuel real quick. Is there any pricing differences there where certain guys stand out, or is it still kind of like Reagan's, Steele, Crochet to you?
I think that it's a little bit harder to get to Reagan's on FanDuel, but I mean he's still very, very playable. Hauk is still too expensive. It's pretty similar, to be honest with you. Reagan's is the most. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, the biggest difference is Steele is like $1,000 more. So I would play more Waldron than Steele because you have like a $1,200 gap on FanDuel as opposed to $200 on DK.
Yeah. In my single entry team on FanDuel, I'm just playing Reagan's because I think he's the best play and I think that he's easy enough to get to.
Okay, very good. Let's flip it and talk about some of the bats and some of the stacks. And T-Swizzle, Swaggy T, you can lead us off there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was kind of debating whether it's going to be the Royals or the Padres. I think losing Tatis, I think it's going to be the Royals for me as the top stack, and they're going to be popular. So they are going to be relatively chalky. So definitely don't expect to get them at any kind of low ownership.
Very good hitting weather there as well, for what it's worth. Not as good as St. Louis, but still like mid 90s and just generally good hitting weather there.
Yeah, so definitely, the Royals are my favorite stack in a vacuum. Best raw point stack, I'd say, followed by the Padres, and then I think Boston or Atlanta. I can't really decide who would be my third, but one of those two teams would be in third. A lot of lefties are going up against Bassett, so Bassett really struggles against lefties. I think Boston is affordable. I think Devers is not too expensive given the matchup. He's 5,700 on DK. That's not too expensive for such an elite hitter. Atlanta, I mean, the lefties I prefer going up against Lance Lynn. And then for like cheaper, I like a cheaper type stack. I like Oakland, and I like Pittsburgh.
Okay, Cheese, your favorite stacks?
Definitely the Royals are kind of the obvious chalk that I think everybody's going to like. And after that, I think it just has to get spread out enough that you can. I think that's the only one where you have to worry about ownership, especially with Tatis out. We'll still have plenty of Padres, but I think it'll be more kind of mini stacks now, like Machado, Profar, maybe Kim if he gets moved up. I would put Atlanta next. I also like Oakland and the Angels, and have the Brewers next on that list.
Very good. Just had somebody ask about the Brewers, so that works well. Guys, let's go around the horn, talk position by position, and then we will give some home run calls, and we'll answer some questions as well. Cheese, why don't you start us off with some catcher talk, please?
As always, catcher, fantastic. Sal Perez is your I don't think he's chalk because of the salary, but I think he's definitely the first guy in if you have money. I would play him over Will Smith. But the mid-tier is pretty great. I like Tyler Stevenson. I like Logan O'Hoppe, and I like Shea Langelier. Those three guys are all right around 4K, and all like, I don't have to be stacking any of those guys. I can all do it on their own. And then Sean Murphy at 33 and Higashioka at 29. I like all of those guys in or out of stacks.
Tim, nodding along. Any other names you want to throw in there?
Honestly, he just named the last two that I was going to mention. He did exactly what I was going to do for catcher. So, yeah, that's really. Did you mention O'Hoppe, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's three mid-tier guys: Stevenson, O'Hoppe, and Langoliers.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say for catching.
Perfect.
And I will.
First base.
I will also say real quick, Perez is 2,900 on FanDuel. So that is, you could totally play a catcher on FanDuel tonight. He is firmly in play on that site in all formats. Yeah. So first base, Vinny P, 4,300. Definitely the cash game first baseman. I think he's completely fine for GPPs as well. He's going to be popular. And then it gets a little bit, I don't know, interesting because I think if you don't go Vinny P, you have to go, to like Matt Olson is your other option, or you just go way down to somebody like Rowdy Tellez or Soderstrom for the A's. Not really a position that there's much in the mid range that I want to play other than Vinny P. So it's really a position that I'm looking to go all the way up, all the way down, or just play Vinny P in cash games.
Okay, Cheese, your thoughts at first?
Definitely Vinny P in cash. Olsen is kind of the obvious spend up. I like Spencer Steer as well. I understand the Rowdy Tellez thing. I would rather play Soderstrom as a one-off or Nolan Shanuel in those later games. That's it. That's all I want to point out.
Okay, second base.
Okay, so Michael Massey is back in our lives, which makes the Royals stack even more popular than it already was. And I think he is the top guy. If salary is no issue, I would play Albies, but he's not like a priority spend. And I think Gorman in that game is also a little bit underpriced. It gets pretty ugly with the cheap stuff. It's mostly in stacks with like a Stefanik or Monasterio or something that's just essentially minimum salary. But I don't want to play those guys on their own. If I have to go cheap being lower than Massey on DK, I guess it would be Zach Geloff. But I think that's it. And then on FanDuel, Spencer Steer is second base eligible. Either he or Massey or other plays there.
Tim, your thoughts at second?
Second base is incredibly weak today, in my opinion. Massey is definitely your cash game guy. After that, I feel like this is really a only in stacks type position, unless you can get all the way up to Albies. I think Dave mentioned that also. I think Jake Cronenworth is going to get lost in the shuffle. If the Padres blow up Corbin, then Cronenworth could see some righties out of that bullpen. So I think Cronenworth is a very, very strong GPP play. But really, this position today, I think, is pretty poor.
Okay, then take me to third base. Maybe a little better there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I prefer Devers quite a bit more than Machado. I mean, I'm not even accounting for the gutless ranking. I just think Devers is the better play. So I prefer paying the $700 more for Devers over Machado. I think Brian Hayes, like at the lower end of third base, is a pretty strong play as well. We haven't touched much on the Reds. I think Hamir Candelario at 4,300 is a strong play. But really, I guess Miguel Garcia at 44 is okay. But again, I'd rather just get up to Machado or Devers. So there isn't. And then, of course, there's Donovan Solano, too, who is a viable punt option for San Diego at only 3,200, right in the middle of that, right at the top Oh, I guess that lineup hasn't come out yet, but either way, he's gonna be batting like 5th or 2nd, I think. So Solano at 3,200, I think, is a very, very strong salary saving option.
Okay, Cheese, third base.
I'm definitely with Swaggy T on Devers over Machado. I don't think Machado is gutless. I think he has plenty of guts. I just think Devers is just better than almost everybody. So Devers is the guy. Austin Riley will get a little bit left out. People will be playing the Atlanta lefties, but not as much the expensive righties. So I do like him. My favorite random cheap guy is Lennon Sosa. But really, I just want to spin up to one of those big bats. It's pretty easy to do.
Okay, shortstop.
So Bobby Witt is almost certainly now the most popular player on the slate and the best player on the slate. And I'm fine playing him anywhere. Like, I'm not going to worry about ownership with Bobby Witt if I have the money to play him. If you do want to worry about it and play, Ellie De La Cruz or CJ Abrams, that's fine. But I'm just playing Bobby Witt. And then in the cheaper tier, we've got O'Neal Cruz and Ha-Seong Kim. I liked Kim a lot, even batting 7th. It almost bothers me if he gets moved up and more people play him. But I still think O'Neal Cruz probably gets more ownership outside of Padres stack. So I'm going to play a little more Kim. I like Willie Adames quite a bit as well. And I think that's it. This is not where I'm going cheap tonight.
Okay, Tim, you going cheap or you spending up?
Yeah, shortstop is always just so loaded these days. So yeah, Bobby Witt's the clear top option. I think I would go Kim as my second favorite, regardless of where he's hitting. And then I like Corey Seager actually for large field GPPs, just as like a one-off. Definitely don't mind that Adames call either. I don't think a lot of people are going to get to him at 5,100. And then we got CJ Abrams and O'Neal Cruz as well. So I mean, this position is absolutely loaded with one-offs or just part of your stack.
Tankenstein in the chat says, any Paul DeJong at short?
I really would not do that. Unless I guess
good options.
I guess unless you're playing like a 3-man White Sox stack or something like that, but I really don't like that.
Yeah, I have a couple. If it's like Tim said, if it's a White Sox, at least a mini stack, but don't punt at short just to do it.
Yeah, I really wouldn't punt at short tonight.
Okay, very good. Take me to the outfield. Swaggy T, what do we got?
Yeah, so kind of a weird group of outfielders tonight. MJ Melendez is definitely going to be like a cash game option at 3,200, batting 6th for the Royals. Definitely a really, really strong play. I really like Jarren Duran at 5,400. One of these lefties going up against Chris Bassett. I really like Boston tonight, so I really like getting to Jarren Duran. Brian Reynolds, 4,500. Definitely too cheap for his skill set playing in Cincinnati. So I think that's a pretty strong play. I think Brent Rooker at 4,100. If people are going to be playing Canning, you should be getting to at least some A's stacks. So I think Brent Rooker is a really, really strong play. JJ Bleday batting leadoff. He's currently in my single entry team.
It's about time we get JJ Bleday leadoff.
Yeah, he's in my single entry team and on my cash team. And I was going to bet him to hit a home run, but his odds are so bad I couldn't do it. So I did not pull the trigger on that. And then the other like cash game, Jared Kelenic, 3,400. That's way too cheap. Batting leadoff against Lance Lynn for Atlanta. So there's these really, really strong like mid-3 outfielders. Like, I don't think it's completely necessary to spend all the way up. Like guys like Ohtani, like obviously Ohtani can beat anybody anytime, but Crochet's a pretty tough matchup for him. There's no Aaron Judge on the slate, so you don't have to go super, super high on outfield.
Yeah, just looking at the projections, like Shohei is projected for just over 10 fantasy points, and Kelenic for $3K cheaper is just like a 1.5 behind. So it's It doesn't seem like that's the juice is worth the squeeze. Although Cheese would say probably play the dude because he's going to hit 2 home runs. Cheese, who are you playing in the outfield?
It's not Ohtani.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's facing a guy who strikes out 40% of lefties, and at 6,600, even if he hits a home run off him, whoop-de-doo. So I have 0 Ohtani. I will never yell at you for playing Joey Ohtani, but I'm not doing it. Like Tim said, like Kelnick and Melendez are like kind of mega chalk. I don't know what mega chalk means on this slate. It's like no one's 50% on in cash they are, but I'm still playing them in tournaments, even as one-offs, just because they're too cheap for the matchups. Same with JJ Bleday. I've got Taylor Ward up there as well. I also like Brent Rooker. The expensive stuff just doesn't really excite me. I mean, I do like Jarren Duran. I like Lewis Robert a little bit. I like Ozuna a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, I like those mid 3K to low 4K outfielders on DK who are just like under 3K on FanDuel.
Okay. We need some home run calls. Cheese, do you want to lead us off in that department?
You know that I do. JJ Bleday and Tyler Soderstrom and Willie Adames.
Okay. Good stuff. Tim, Swaggy T, you got a few for me?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Brian Reynolds for 1. And then I'm going to go with, where did he go? I'm going to go Cabrian Hayes.
Okay.
Yep.
By the way, just as you said, Brian Reynolds, Clay Walker in the chat said B. Reynolds. We've got a little mojo behind that name here. I like it. That's my pick as well. Just
can we confirm that is Clay Walker, the country singer, in the chat?
It is. Yes.
Yeah, if I could make a living out of loving that guy, I absolutely would. If I could make a living. Sorry.
I assumed that was a song of his, but I didn't really know. Let's see. We got a lineup here. Let's see. It's Profar Machado, San Diego, right? So Arias. Yeah. So Kim is still, it looks like 7th. If I'm doing math right. Arias, Profar, Machado, Cronenworth, Solano, Merrill, Kim, Higashioka, and Johnson.
Yeah.
So that does give us a straight up minimum salary outfielder. I don't think you need it tonight. That's Bryce Johnson. There's so many, but if you do need it for some reason, play the one on the Padres.
Yeah. Okay. We have 21 minutes until lock. That's great. I love when it's a late lock. That way we can just hang out longer. My family always enjoys it as well. So let's see what we got here. Make sure, by the way, you sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. We got all kinds of sports. We got an option for whatever level you're looking for. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price $469.99. That's a steal. Savings of $250 as opposed to buying 6 individual months of combo premium. You can also get your first month of RG Premium for $40 off for a limited time. And if you just want to test those waters, see what's going on here, 3-day pass is $19.99. I went to Quiznos today, and it was more than $19.99, and that was just for one person getting lunch. And you could have 3 days of RG Premium instead. You got to think about where you want to spend that $19.99, and I don't think there's a better deal in the world than spending it right here at RotoGrinders. You can't even eat out anymore. Cheese Quiznos over $20 for one person.
What did you order? It's just a sandwich, or what did you get? You had something funny.
Yeah, I got a soup to go. I got the foot long, and then I got the soup, and then I got the drink, and then I get the chips.
I don't know if you need soup with that.
Yeah, I don't think I did, but I saved half.
But it should still be $17 at the most.
It's still, I know, it's outrageous. Over $20. Can't even get out of a Quiznos. Dean said I didn't know Quiznos still existed. Yeah, it's still better than Subway, and that's really all it ever was just like it's not great, but it's better than Subway. If you were choosing between the two,
I haven't been to either one of those in like 6 or 7 years, I think.
It had been a minute for me as well. Michael says I went to Burger King. It was $17. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy out here. Let's take some of these QQs real fast. We did have a question, Tim, for you. I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to find it. It was, what is your favorite? I think it was your favorite bet or your favorite prop in Game 7 for a little hockey.
Yeah. I'll look at it real quick. I'll find something.
Okay. And in the meantime, speaking of props, we have a quick little guest appearance here from Chief, who is the prop master. Take it away, Chief.
What is going on, Grinders? It's Chief. It's MLB Fantasy, and we're doing Boom Fantasy. And folks, they've got an incredible contest there. It's the spin and win contest. I've got 2 plays for you. First up on the docket, it's Cole Reagan. He's at 6.5 strikeouts. We want more than that projection against the Miami Marlins. We've seen Reagan have a really nice K rate this season. Also, we're going with Tanner Bybee against the Baltimore Orioles. Yes, this is a tight matchup tonight, but Bybee sitting at a 29.2% K rate on the season. Definitely think he can pick up a few strikeouts to get to 6 against this team. Now, folks, let's spin the wheel, and we can get up to 500x, but we end up with 3.5x today. I love it. Love putting this card in. Folks, if you want to get a little bit more boom in your fantasy, use the promo code Grinders. Get up to a 100% match in the form of a free entry. We'll see you back here later.
Good stuff. Thank you, Chief. We appreciate it. And with that, we're going to dive into some of these QQs, starting with the RG Discord. Hit us with the thumbs up, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, as I pick a few of these questions. Got a lot of them come in. Everybody's hanging out here. Cheese, I will start with a question from Alex. DK, single entry one-off. I'm already stacking some Royals chalk. So would you prefer Devers Kelenic or Riley Willier?
Willier Brady. He's a Red Sox lefty. I mean, Devers Kelenic is the better side of that. But if you're already stacking Royals chalk, give me Riley and Abreu.
Okay, very good. DK GPP. Cheese, coming right back to you. Your favorite one-off out of Jazz, Soler, Pham, and Rooker. Okay. Swaggy T coming to you. DK GPP last piece, Adele or Langford?
I'll go Adele.
Okay. FanDuel Cash, Tim, Reagans, Perez, or Peralta and Bobby Witt. I feel like you have the Reagans.
You got. I guess you got it in that scenario. You got to go Peralta, Witt. I don't mind Peralta in Cash. I mean, the bat has him number 1, so I mean that's it's completely fine. And okay. You have to play Witt in Cash, no question.
Gotcha. All right, very good. Lord Matty Ice says Cheese DK GPP Soderstrom or Roddy Tellez.
I prefer Soderstrom. I mean, theoretically, Tellez is probably the slightly better play and much more owned. But I like Soderstrom.
Okay. FanDuel single entry. Cheese better one off Reynolds or Robert?
That's very similar to the Soderstrom or Tellez. Like Reynolds is the better play, but I like Robert if the rest of your lineup is somewhat chalky.
Fair enough. FanDuel Cash question, Tim, coming to you from Sherman's Tanks. It's a 2v2 Candelario India or Devers Massey.
Devers Massey, definitely.
Okay, we have a lineup HQ question from Boolies. Which of you is going to take this? Who's the power user?
Probably Cheese.
Okay, Cheese. Can I control how much a group appears in my lineups, i.e. exposure percentage to a specific player group?
As far as I know, the answer to that is no.
Okay. I don't even understand the question.
Yeah, it's like groups is a whole separate page. You can set like anytime I play Rafael Devers, I also want to play this guy with him.
Right.
I don't think off the top of my head, no, I don't believe there is a way. You just have to do it with your individual player exposures on the main page.
Okay. Carolina guy, FanDuel, single entry favorite pitcher, Cheese.
Crochet.
Ooh, speaking of which, I think we're good here. Blink 182 says, and Cheese, I'm going to give this to you because it's a bit of a follow-up. Every time I use Freddie Peralta, he gets blown up. Every time. Is using Crochet over him tonight silly, since it's simply based on my bad experiences in the past of him getting blown up every time?
I will answer that 2 ways. It is silly if you're basing it on your bad experiences, but it's not silly at all. Like both Tim and I said, we prefer Crochet over Peralta. So it's not silly based on who the pitchers are, but don't do it because Peralta has been bad for you before. Like get that out of your head.
Yeah. You can do it for that reason. You can do it for it. It's fine.
You can go for any reason.
Right. FanDuel GPP, Tim, I'm stacking Braves and White Sox. Do you like Peralta, Kelenic, or Waldron and Ozuna?
The first one. And I do have a prop bet for the Game 7.
I forgot about that. What do you got?
Matthias Ekholm to record 1 point plus 175 on DK.
Nice.
And then I'm also going to bet Alexander Barkov no points at plus 130.
Okay.
Dean is fuming.
Yeah.
It's okay.
How dare you? Carolina guy, FanDuel GPP. Tim, I need an outfielder at 2,900 or cheaper in a FanDuel GPP, Tim.
All right, let me pull up FanDuel right this second.
Yep. Cheese. In the meantime, FanDuel cash, Mikhail Garcia and Kutch, or Riley and MJ Melendez.
Riley Melendez.
Okay.
Can I answer that FanDuel question real quick?
Yes,
in a FanDuel GPP,
Yep.
we didn't really talk about Jackson Merrill because he's left on left. I really like him tonight because I expect San Diego to do well against Corbin, so he could get lost to shuffle along with Cronenworth. So I really like Jackson Merrill. If you don't want to get that kind of like off the board, I think JJ Bleday is a fantastic play.
Okay. Cheese Snow Fighter says DKGPP Roberts or O'Neill is a one-off.
I'm thinking he means Robert.
Probably means Robert. Yeah.
They're both pretty fantastic. Give me Robert, but I don't think you go wrong either way.
Okay. Tim, back to you with LBD Titans question. It is a 3v3 for you. Machado, Kim, and Profar, or Devers, Hamilton, and Yoshida.
Yeah, I have that same thought process of those teams. I think it's so close. I think the Padres, but I also think the Padres are going to be higher owned. So I don't know, but I think it's the Padres side.
Okay. All right. FanDuel GPP question, Tim. Are there any stack builds that you're focusing on in your lineups? 4-3, 4-2-2, or are you just trying to stack? It's just a slate where you just want to stack as much as you can.
I would prefer to have Dave answer that question.
Cheese, is there any stack setups that you prefer specifically today? This was a FanDuel question, but could probably go either way.
Officially, no. All my FanDuel lineups have at least one 4-man stack, but past that, no.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. DKGPP, Cheese, Josh Smith as a one-off from D Pike.
He did not make my list.
Okay. Tim, coming to you, FanDuel single entry question. Did I just do this one? I don't think so. Brian Reynolds and MJ Melendez, or Brent Rooker and JJ Bleday.
Yeah, I think you use that little 2-man Oakland in your single entry team. The other build is like a cash game build. Reynolds, Melendez. That's like cash game. Use that 2-man Oakland in GPPs.
Fair enough. Right back to you here with a Fic Nostrum question for you, Tim. DKGPP, Telez Witt, or Vinny P and O'Neill Cruz.
I think you just go with Witt.
Okay. Cheese, I feel like this next question is what literally everyone is deciding. Jay MVP says, FanDuel single entry, main stack is Cincy. Would you mini KC or San Diego? I feel like KC and San Diego is the question.
Yeah. I would still do KC.
Okay. Choose your favorite pairing, DK single entry GPP, if you're paying up for both pitchers. You had a clear answer here.
Reagan's Crochet.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. DK GPP, Tim, coming to you, and we're making you work. We're in the outfield at 3,900. We got Ward, Kutch, Andujar, maybe someone else entirely. 3,900 DK GPP in the outfield from DW.
Yeah, pretty kind of an odd price. Well, I mean, I'd go JJ Bleday. I know I've answered that same person or Jackson Merrill. Those would be my two guys.
Okay. Robert or O'Neill in a one-off and a DK GPP from Snowfighter. I think we answered this question earlier, and the answer was Robert. I'm not.
Yep.
And then Tim, your favorite stack in a FanDuel GPP?
Yeah, so
it's the Royals, isn't it?
It's the Royals, but I want to say somebody else other than the Royals. I like Pittsburgh quite a bit. They fit really nicely. So other than the Royals, I do like Pitt.
Okay. I'm jumping over to the YouTube now. All of those questions were answered in the RG Discord. That's where I go first. Make sure you're joining the RG Discord because you get your questions answered, and it's where all the cool kids hang out. Now to the YouTube, DKGPP, Cheese, Renfro, or Langford?
Renfro.
Unreleased lo-fi music says Cheese is playing Waldron in cash a little too thin on FanDuel.
Yes.
Okay. Devin says, Tim, DK big single entry. I've got 2.7K left for anyone. Is anyone viable there, or 2.7K left for an outfielder? Or do I drop Waldron to Schwelly and then I get Blade?
Yeah, go for Schwallen and Blade.
Okay, great. Tim, your favorite punt catcher in DK Cash?
I guess it's Sean Murphy.
Cheese, DK question from Achilles, Sawinski, or Renfro?
I like Renfro.
A question from Dante for you here, Cheese. It is our boy Langoliers or Langelier versus Ohapi on DK.
I absolutely love both of them. I'll go Ohapi, but the real answer is just yes.
Okay. Tim, Jim Parrish in the chat says, I've got 2 spots left and Brandon Crawford and Butler come up for cheap. Can I use Brandon Crawford and Butler?
I really don't like that. I don't mind playing one of them in a stack, but I don't like playing both of them in the same lineup.
Okay, that's fair. DKGPP question, Tim, from Jake. Bobby Witt and Mikhail Garcia, or Devers and Adames?
You'd be getting off of a ton of ownership going the Devers Adames route, but I still think the Royals are better play in a vacuum.
Okay. 2-man on DK. Cheese, this question comes from Fred. You want Massey, Witt, and Barger, or Massey, Adames, and hang on. It's a 3v3v3. 2 of the 3 are almost the same, but I'm just going to read them, Cheese. You ready? DK, Massey, Witt, Barger, Massey, Adames, Hayes, Albies, Riley, Diaz.
If it's cash, definitely the Massey, Witt, Barger. If it's a tournament, I would lean towards getting those Braves in there.
Okay, nice. Markel Jones says, any Cubs love? Cheese, you got any Cubs love?
Not really love, but like they are on my stacking list. Like, yeah, they're in there, but definitely not love.
Okay. Devin says, in DK Cash, are Waldron and Steele okay together? Is that cheaper than you would like, Tim?
Steele is fine. I do not like pairing the 2 together in cash. You should be playing Reagan's or Peralta, or Crochet even as your SP1.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, how much money am I going to win on DK tonight stacking Oakland? And believe it or not, this is not from the guy who always asks about Oakland. This is from Achilles. How much money are we going to win stacking Oakland, Tim?
Well, I've got 3 of them on my single entry team on DK, so hopefully it's just my 3 guys, and we win a ton of money.
There you go. All right. Not crazy. DK, GPP, Cheese, Langford, or Merrill from AK Boy 305?
I'd go Merrill.
305. Is that Miami? 305? Yeah, that's Miami, right? 305?
That sounds right.
I think so. Let me know if I'm wrong. Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305? Yeah, Pitbull. Yeah, it's Miami. Just hopped in the chat. DK Cash pitchers. Cheese, your favorite 2 pitchers. You know what I'm talking about when I say Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305, right, Cheese?
I have no idea. I just have called people in Miami before, so I was trying to remember the area. I didn't know there was a trick for it. We'll check that out later. What's the question now? DK Cash pitchers.
Yeah, your favorite cash pitchers.
Definitely Reagan's, and then Probably Steele because you can use the money, but if you can fit Reagan's and Crochet, I would do that.
Okay. Checking back in the Discord here real quick, seeing if we got anything new coming in. We do. Cheese Jay says FanDuel single entry better one off Eloy or Ward.
I like Ward.
Tim, he says, Chinatown says, I'm late to the show. The Bat likes Crochet a ton. I'm actually thinking about playing him in cash. Is that bat shit crazy? I see what he did there.
Yeah.
You don't
definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I think the pairings are either Reagan's Crochet or Reagan's and Steele. Personally, I'm going Reagan Steele, but Crochet is not bad at all.
Okay. Tim, Mr. Irrelevant says, DK large field tournament. I'm stacking the Royals. Do I play Markel Garcia at near min salary or MJ Melendez and Jake Berger? Oh, hang on. I read that wrong. Markel Garcia and a near min salary outfielder or MJ Melendez and Jake Berger.
I like Melendez quite a bit. I'm not super high on Garcia, so go the Melendez route.
Okay. J Sam says, Cheese, do you mind pivoting to Renfroe over MJ in a Kansas City stack? And what are your feelings on Trick Daddy?
Obviously, strong feelings on Trick Daddy. I think pivoting to Renfroe over Melendez is fantastic because that gives you the chalk stack without being as chalky. I assume I have some stuff to listen to tonight. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, Trick a load of kids. That's all you need to know. Trick a load of kids. That's all you need to know. The Pharaoh says FanDuel Cash Cheese, Profar and Machado or Riley and Kellenich.
I mean, if you can do Machado Kelnick, which I think you can, I would do that. But if those are your two choices, I guess I'd go Machado Profar.
Okay, we're less than 2 minutes until lock. Anger says, any love for Paxton and a FanDuel GPP? Tim, any Pax love?
No, not for me. I think he's viable as an SB2 on DK, but no chance on FanDuel.
Anthony says, Tim, thoughts on an Atlanta? Nope. Thoughts on a St. Louis stack?
I think as a 3-man stack, I'd be okay with it.
Do it. The weather there is awesome, so I approve just for the weather. Richie says, Cheese, your favorite cheap pitcher under 7,500 on DK, although you admitted you don't really love spending down on DK.
What was the number?
7,500.
Okay. I mean, Schwellenbach, but for the salary, I like Spires the best.
Yeah. DK single entry Cheese. We got less than a minute until lock. Machado Adames or Kim and Devers?
Kim and Devers.
Okay. Tim, Soderstrom or Langoliers in my FanDuel stack? Cash.
I'd go Soderstrom.
Okay. Less than a minute here until lock. Your 5 favorite, but it's kind of a hard question. Cheese, your 5 favorite Braves in a DK tournament.
That's very hard. It's so salary dependent. Like definitely Kelnick, Albies, and Olsen. Like those 3 are in. And then it's just a matter of the salary. Like if you have salary, it's just obviously Ozuna and Riley. But realistically, with the way lineup build works, I would say it's probably Murphy and like Forrest Wall, just so you have the salary elsewhere.
Okay. Very good. We hit lock. I have a quick Trick Daddy story, and then we can depart. I know you're excited for this one.
I am.
I went to a concert. I was maybe like 20. I went to a Trick Daddy concert. He was headlining, and I was very excited to see Trick. And Trick Daddy showed up about 2 to 3 hours late and so drunk that he could not perform. But he attempted to, but it was very, very sloppy. And
good on him for giving it a shot.
Yeah, you really. Yeah. I don't know if the 2 to 3 hours was him like trying to sober up the whole time, or if he just arrived 2 to 3 hours late, just absolutely housed, and they threw him up on stage. I don't know. But we got some Trick Daddy dancing on stage.
The legal issues section on Wikipedia is entertaining me probably as much as the music will. But anyhow.
I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. Okay, I think with that, Cheese, if you want a Trick Daddy song, Dro in the Wind. Dro in the Wind is my personal favorite. Where Eric says, "What's a Trick Daddy?"
It's a fair question. Yeah.
I don't even know who you guys are talking about. No, not one clue.
Oh, I don't either. I Googled it and I see.
Okay.
I feel like 98% of the people in chat are with you.
Is there like a one big song that like anyone would have heard somewhere? Does he have one of those?
Probably, yeah. Like, isn't it Trick a Lot of Kids? See, now we're staying late just to Google Trick Daddy songs.
Of course, probably from the title, I might not get it. I'd have to hear it, which I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to be listening to tonight.
I think you're just going to have to listen to I'm a Thug is a big one, but I think In the Wind is the best one. I recommend Take It to the House is a, yeah.
I'll report back for sure.
Yeah. I'm sorry for what you're, I apologize for the 3 minutes that it's going to take out of your life, Cheese. I don't expect you're going to enjoy it. They say you don't know who Trick Daddy is, and it's actually insane. It's not like they're I mean, they're not that generation.
I promise you have never heard of my favorite musicians either, and it is also not insane.
It's fine. All right, on that, we're gonna get on out of here. That was very enjoyable. In the Wind, Trick Daddy, actually one of my favorite songs of all time. Cheese for Tim, for my wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys. We appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.